Hello, welcome to Honest Wargame. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to a lovely day of Saturday streaming. I'm joined by Mr. Joe Cryer. That way, actually.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Joe, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome, everyone, to the show. Thanks for joining us live. We'll be jumping over to the table in the moment. So 3 games to cover today. The first one we've got is Orruk Warclans versus Daughters of Khaine. We'll get to the tables in a minute. You can obviously type !lists in the chat. You can type !event, and that will actually enunciate. So you guys will be able to bring up the ladder for the day and bring them all up. So it'll be good. Coral Dawn, thanks very much for subscribing. And thanks everyone for being here in the chat. Joe, you excited for the day of coverage? 82 players at this event.
That's
How you feeling?
That's so many, Rob. I just wish we had some data on it.
Me too, Joe. Joe joined us from over in the US of A. Thank you for joining us. We've got Adam the Freedom Fighter and then Dan and Supervisor are going to be my co-commentators for the rest of the day. Very much looking forward to this. There's going to be some fun matches. First match is going to be Star Strike as well, so get yourselves excited. Thanks for joining us live. I know it's super early for some of you, or maybe even just late for the others. Appreciate you all being here. Appreciate it loads and loads and loads. Stu Flynn, lovely seeing you. Mr. Lee. Also, big shout out. Let's just get to the tabletop, Joe. I don't really like seeing commentators on screen for too long because what's the point, right? That's all I ever think. So let's just throw that shade straight out. Right, let's go over to this table. Let me just do 83 things. Here we go. Now, the board has been designed by the wonderful Owen Jackson. That's right, of Owen Jackson fame. And we've already started to see deployment. Towers. Joe, could you talk me through Star Strike, please? What am I seeing here?
So what we're going to be seeing is on. So there's no objectives actually on the table right now. How this mission works is at start of round 2, we get one objective that rolls randomly into the middle of the table, right across the center line. So you see where.
Keep going, Joe.
Yep. So start of round 2. One objective will fall right in the middle of the table somewhere. It's determined by a dice roll. Start of round, and then they'll fight over that 1 point for a turn. And then start of round 3, one more will fall on each of their table sides, and they'll have 3 objectives to fight over for the rest of the game.
They will. Now, we're going to talk about the lists real quick, but the first turn has already been given to the big War army here that you can see here. Well, quick high-level take on it for everyone seeing at home. There's a unit, as you can see, of Savage Boars here, and behind them we've got these 4 big stabbers, which are looking to do some real work, not to Marathi. And then you've got this other unit of Savage Uruks here. You've got 6 Gore Grunters. You've got all your characters behind here. You've got your Wurgog Prophet, and your War Doc, and of course your War Chanter, and then another unit of Boar Boys over here as well, and of course the big Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. So we'll talk about the list and what's happening right now. They are into the hero phase, and we are already hearing that here we go has been enacted. So Marathi Khaine is in the list, and this has got the Vampiric Guard battalion. Joe will tell us what this is in a minute. There's 2 units of 10 Bloodstalkers, and there's a unit of Blood Sisters. So 2 units of 10 Fighty Snakes and 1 unit of 10 Shooty Snakes is the quickest and easiest way to describe that. Joe, Vampiric Guard battalion. What's that? What do we do with that?
So
what's that get us?
Yep, so that gets us the Marathi Khaine on foot. It gets us the Shadow Queen, because they have to come together now, and they're both going to be inside the battalion. We get the 2 units of Bloodrack Melusai or the Melusai Iron Scales in any combination. We also have 2 to 3 Blood Sisters or Blood Stalkers in any combination, and once per battle, a hero from the battalion. So the Marathi can spend a command point for free once per. Can spend a command ability without using a command point once per game.
Yes. Yeah. So lots to unpack here. So Star Strike, as we've said, Star Strike is a really interesting battle plan. Joe, I'd love your take on this. Twitch chat, your guys, because there are no objectives on the board. Loads of Age of Sigmar is based around there being an objective here and an objective here. Then you would take your unit and they would kind of like cap it with something light, is what you do, and then your opponent would drop over with their unit, they take it out, you do a trade until your big hit units come in and do the damage. That's pretty much how they work. Mr. Teague, thanks for resubscribing. Loads of love. That's pretty much how most objective-based games work. Some people don't do that. Some people use like a flood technique where they take their whole army and they just throw it in your guts, and then they kind of hold the back objectives with like little small man units. There's loads of ways to play it. What I like about Star Strike, and I'll say it every time I introduce Star Strike, is you're not doing any of that. You're waiting. You're holding off. So if you are one of those flood armies that does everything turn one, or if you're an Alpha Strike army, you really are punished by not playing particularly, like, by this battle plan. Joe, how do you tend to play this battle plan?
Yeah, so there's been a few events that I've been to where this has been the last mission, like round 5 at events. And the main play for people has been to just like castle turn 1, potentially move up a little bit. I've seen some play where they'll put 1 or 2 units up to potentially land where the objective might be. But usually it's only going to be someone who's on the bottom of the turn, where they can guard where they can actually set up a guard and hope for the double on it. But then if they don't, that unit's probably just gone, right? And then they're going to lose that objective, and then the whole castle can move up and take that point for the turn, and then the game really gets interesting from there. So
it really does. It really does. It's genuinely an interesting matchup. One of the interesting things here, though, is going to be Morathi Khaine here. She's got Mirror Pool, not the Bringy Dingy, so it's not the fun combo that we've seen before. Soul Shaded, thank you for subscribing. So you're not going to see, you're not going to see like the game that you would normally see, because Morathi Khaine can do something that no one else can do, which is be immortal.
It's a big thing to be when no one else can.
Yeah, it's really good. One of the things also that we're seeing here between the two players, AZ is running Daughters of Khaine and Stefan is running the Big War. Both German players who, when they got paired up against each other, were super happy because obviously they're in a Discord room together. They were like, oh, we can finally play our German game speaking our native language. And then a bunch of English/American folk came in and they were like, oh, we'll do it in English for you. People can only speak one language. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being smarter and better than us as people.
Appreciative.
Yeah, very appreciative. So a lot of threat range is being measured here. We also got promised by the Owen Jackson that this is going to be a the Owen Jackson. This is going to be super sweet game because both players really know what they're doing, which is very exciting. And lastly, last thing to quickly point out before we get on to talking about units is, of course, this is only one match in 41 other matches that are occurring at this event. It's been announced yesterday. It's been announced yesterday that the top 8, that's right, Joe, the top 8, you'll be used to this, the top 8 are going to go through to an elimination-style tournament, which we'll also be covering on February the 20th, which is very exciting.
Nice.
Very nice. Geminids being cast here. Joe, got any thoughts on Geminids other than best spell ever?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up there. There's a few contenders for it, but as being in most of the lists that I've seen here, it's definitely pretty good.
Very good, very good. Like it doesn't. There's nothing else inside the Orruk list that it doubles up with. We're not into Daughters of Khaine yet, are we? Table boss, or are we? Oh, we're into movement phase. Okay, yeah. So we haven't. We don't have anything else inside the Orruk Warclans list where you can double down. The reason that it's so good, obviously, in things like Tzeentch is a really good example, is because they obviously give a -1 to hit aura around them. Sorry, I'll speak American for you. Neg 1 is aura around them, and then Geminids obviously is going to double that up as well.
And that's the bubble around the hero, right? That it affects. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
Also works with the best weapon in the Mortal Realms, which is obviously the net. So you can double those up for, again, another -1. So, but there's not really anything else inside this Urruk's list that's going to be able to do it. We're now into the Urruk's movement phase. As you can see, we've got reroll 1s to save, buffed up on those Savage Urruk. So, is that a 6-up save reroll it was?
It's a 5-up now. They also have a +1 save up. So it looks like it's a 5-up rerolling 1s.
5-up rerolling 1s on this unit. But this brick of sticker Urruks is 60 wounds. We can't be shy about that. They're not
30 guys, 60 wounds. Not bad.
They're a great screen in this list, right? Absolutely brilliant. Good morning to everyone in the chat, by the way. I'm just going to say hello to everyone. Thanks to James Town, who's joining us live. First time he's ever watched, but he's been a Hydro homie for a long time. I'm super glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that loads. And Eric Sorben, Eric Sorbonen, I appreciate you pointing out that, of course, stickers, as we know, are also in close combat, +1 save as well. So that's a 4-up reroll in 1s that they'll get if they do manage to get in combat, which is super useful for that 60 wound brick. They're not
especially with Marathi on the table and some combat snakes.
Yes.
It's going to be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, yes, thanks to Circin for subscribing. Appreciate you loads. And morning, Smack Weasel, and everyone else. Dean M, morning. Hope you're well. Hope you are well. Hope everyone's well. So we're going to see
and it
the
looks like
difference.
if I've got my math right, it looks like if I've got my math right, he actually rolled a 6 to get his big wall points up to 11 too. So he's starting off pretty big on that big wall points.
Really important, actually. In fact, actually, this scenario does benefit the big war mechanic quite a lot. If you guys aren't aware of how that works, basically, depending on your general and a few other factors, if you've got a war dock and some other things, you basically can generate big war points. And you can use those for a couple of things. You use them for pluses to cast, which is obviously really important if you're looking to do big spells. However, really what you're doing is you're looking to get +1 to hit if you get high enough, and then +1 to wound army-wide. You also get +1 to... it goes up in tiers, right? It's like a tank that you fill up. You can get +1... you can get +1 to charge, which is super cool. And some of those Iron Jaws units, like the Gore Grunters, already get +1 to charge. So that's +2 to charge. Then you've got +1 to hit, +1 to wound is going to make those Gore Grunters horrific in close combat. And really, those are the 2 punch units. Well, no, 3 punch units that you find in the Orruk Warclans list. You've got those 2 units of 6 Gore Grunters. They're going to be hitting on 2s, wound on 2s, damage 2 because of the War Chanter. And then you've got the Mega Boss +1 to hit, +1 to wound. And then the Big Stabbers +1 to hit, +1 to wound. Now, unfortunately, the Big Stabbers don't really have a target because they're best. They're still good, but they're best into monsters, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, if they're hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s right now with Ren 2 and D3 damage, they're not there's gonna be no slouches into those snakes who are all multi-wound heroes or multi-wound models as well. So yeah, not necessarily into Marathi, but if they're stabbing, the big snakes, they're gonna be probably on average they'll be killing a snake per wound that goes through, right?
It's true. Now, there's also inside here that we have the Melisai Iron Scale, which has come out in the recent box set. You can't buy individually at the moment. And the Melisai Iron Scale has got a command ability, so that you're going to be able to run and charge the snakes. I'm pretty certain that's the command ability. I'll go and double check now. But how do you feel, Joe, about the Daughters of Khaine army composition? A lot of snakes. A lot of people wanted to run this for a long time. Rathi Book has brought it out. What do you think? What are your thoughts on making it a viable army?
I mean, Daughters of Khaine has always been a viable army, right? With a lot of the witches and the shrines. The fact that we're not seeing any of those here definitely makes it a more interesting take. But I have seen the shooting snakes putting in work with people. So it's going to be interesting to see how 2 mainly combat focused armies. It looks like there's some shooting here, but a lot of it's combat, right? So it's exactly what the big wall wants is to fight, but they both want to fight too, especially with this immovable Marathi anchor that they have. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top, just because they're both doing what they want to.
And even though, and this is the important point, even though we are it looks like what we're seeing here is a unit that, because of the Melisai, you can obviously run, shoot, and charge, and then also you can run 2d6. So these snakes are going to be super fast. But we're not seeing a Hagnar build. Now, Hagnar is the kind of more traditional Daughters of Khaine build, the sub-faction. What we're actually seeing is Calibron. So very much like the big war choice that we're seeing for the Orruk Warclans that we saw before, what we're seeing for this army is the ability to use a command ability to teleport a unit around the board. Now, this works super well in conjunction with Mirror Pool, which is another spell from the spell lore available to Daughters of Khaine, which is also on Marathi. So the ability to swap the place of 2 characters. on the board as well, which means you can teleport little Morathi to where big Morathi is, and you can kind of redistribute power. So you've got 2 ways for the Daughters of Khaine to teleport around the board, and that's really, really important, because that means they don't have to play this. Right now, if there wasn't that available, they just run in a straight line, straight at the opponent, looking to hit them. Right, Joe?
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Whereas...
with that teleport, now they can hit whatever corner they want to. If the Orcs move up too fast, they can hit up behind them. Really mess with with the head of the big wild player, giving those models. And
we're seeing that straight away. Look at this move. We're at the end of the Orruk turn. We've seen them deploy right here, and straight off the bat, look at this. This unit of Bloodstalkers are being teleported. We're going to see the CP that we've got from the battalion. We're going to see that put onto the unit of Bloodstalkers, and they're going to shoot their 24-inch shots in the hero phase. They're also going to shoot in the shooting phase because of the command ability coming out of Morathi. And that's why I think, we've seen people take big bricks of 20 of these Bloodstalkers, but this early morning chip damage, this is what it is, that is coming in from Daughters of Khaine. They've got that range threat, which the Urruks really can't kind of counter. They've just got to kind of soak it up and take the rain of arrows as they run across the board. However, it's going to be really important, that teleport going into where the objectives land. But first time I've seen the Bloodstalkers do some shooting. I wonder if, Joe, you got any thoughts? Not a good armor save on the Urruks. You think they're going to go through them?
If they get those mortal wounds off, for sure. The rest of it, do we know what kind of terrain this is? Is it, it's inspiring? Okay, so yeah, everyone can see everyone. Because that would be interesting if it was actually like the blocking line of sight, but not quite.
No, it's not. These are just ruins. Everything else has been named. Some of the stuff is just scenery and not actually named scenery. Big shout out to LLV in the chat. Love to see you. Also, Twitch chat. Time for a prediction, Joe. It's time for you to call it. Who do you guys think is going to win? I'll give you guys in the chat a moment to catch up with us. Joe, it's all on you. Who you think's taking this match out?
I think that Maw Crusher, if it gets in the right spot, is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to those snakes. And this 30 pack of Savage Orcs is huge. And I think, is that the same amount of models as the entire Daughters of Khaine army? Is those 30 orcs?
Yeah, there's an interesting wound composition here. There's 100 wounds in the Daughters of Khaine army. There's 169 wounds in the Orruk Warclans army. So they've got more than 50% more wounds in the army, but the armor saves are significantly different. Right, so there's a significant wound difference, but there's also a significant armor save difference. And also, most importantly, as much as I respect the Mega Boss of Maw Crusher and his ability to do output, ultimately, he's not immortal.
Morathi.
And Morathi
if Morathi gets into him, it's going to be a bad day for him for sure. But if he can avoid her, for most of the game, I think he'll be able to come out on top. So
yeah,
I know me and you agree on this a lot. It's going to come down to the movement of each player, right? I think whoever messes up the movement phase first is going to be the one who's going to be hurting.
It's true, and this unit of Bloodstalkers are obviously out here as bait, because what he really wants to do, I would say, and this is not AZ, this is Stefan. So we've just seen the shooting phase go off, and we saw 2 ball boys killed out of this unit here. So what I was going to say was that really we're looking at like a counterpunch army. As much as this unit of Bloodstalkers is out there completely in the wind, we haven't got the movement phase yet. So this might not be, Gobo, thanks for subscribing, this might not be perfect, and this might not be right, because we've still got the movement phase to come, but look at this. This is a snake, this is snake bait, is what this is. This feels like Kill Bill. Yeah, this is a Black Mamba bait trap, is what we're seeing here. Because if he does end up charging anything into these snakes, he can counterpunch with 2 units of Melusai. They can run 2d6 and charge on top of their base move 8. And then we've also got the Morathi to punch in as well. So it's a big old fight. there. Joe, would you try and trade off with something small? I mean, he doesn't have many like small units. He either commits the big unit 6 pigs, the Maw Crusher, maybe he flies out the big stabbers. I don't know. What would you do in this situation? Because I feel like that's a setup, and Stefan a setup for AZ there.
Yeah, his command trait, if I remember correctly, should be a free move in the hero phase. Using the where is it? Yeah, using the Brutish Cunning. Once per battle, the general can use the Mighty Destroyer's command ability, which should be like a full move. So if he does that on the Maw Crusher, moving 14 inches, right? He's going to be able to go. Let's see where we got from here. I can't use the measuring stick.
You're not allowed to measure on the screen, because otherwise it will give the players stuff.
Oh, I got you. Yep. Well, just eyeballing it. Let's see. He's probably at 12 inches up the table, so 28 might be able to get him all the way to this overgrown piece of terrain over here, right? If he's able to do that, he can come tag this unit, which looks like it'd be the one in the back, and then the pigs in the back here would be able to hit the front with his 30 pack, still able to kind of guard or threaten everything over here. I mean, assuming Marathi Khaine, doesn't just like have her way with everyone. He's gonna have this flank, I think, all to himself, with this 30 block being able to potentially holding up by model count alone. If the objective falls in the middle, he should be able to take kind of the middle and the far right here. But if he doesn't get,
go on after you.
No, yeah, I mean, but like if the objective falls on the actual Daughters of Khaine side, I think it's gonna be a lot harder for him to come back. I think from that, just that early lead with the Daughters.
Yeah, it could be a strong early lead, and also those double teleports and the ability to nip around the board obviously is going to affect how he can move. How much AZ, who is playing with the Big War, is going to be able to control the board space, because it looks like right now Daughters of Khaine have definitely got too many threats. And I mean, the interesting element is just this Morathi. Like, it's an unkillable piece. You can't outplay Morathi. Morathi can just stand wherever you want. And be indestructible. Wherever she wants, yeah. Like, you can stand wherever she wants, like, be indestructible and do what she wants. So, like, it's an intimidating piece to play against, right?
Absolutely, especially when you want to fight things and that fight thing can't die. It's big sad for sure, right?
big sad. Oh, thank you to HypnoKraken for donating some gift subscriptions to Audum in the chat, and thanks to everyone for joining us live. Twitch chat, you haven't told me who's going to win. That's what I want to know. Who are you rooting for? That's what I want to see. In the Twitch chat.
I think
have you called it, Joe?
I'm thinking the Big Wa have got this, as long as the objective falls either in the middle to the right hand side. But if it falls next to Morathi, I think the Daughters will be able to take it there. But a big thing to say about Morathi right now, being immortal, she is now 100% immortal until the end of round 3.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Because on her turn and the entire first turn, she's taken no damage whatsoever. So she is sitting hands down until the bottom of round 3 at the very least.
Yeah, it's arguable. Like, so a lot of tactics, I think, around Morathi are obviously getting her in early and using her to hold up armies until the mid game, where hopefully everything else has been resolved. In Starstrike, because the tempo is very different, right? We have a very different tempo of game where no one's engaging, no one needs to, there's no objectives available, and it's not really that important. Having Morathi saved until later on, so she's unkillable on an objective. She still only obviously counts as one model, thank goodness, because that is a super strong ability. However, having her there, like you say, available to just contest objectives going into turn 3, maybe going even into turn 4 if she doesn't get if she doesn't get hit at all in the next round as well, really could be quite scary, and give some really strong late game play to the Daughters of Khaine army. Yeah,
especially since it's for, like, unlike most missions where you only get 1 point per round or per objective. This one you actually get an objective point per that equals the round that they're in, right? So round 2, she's like, if she was on the objective, it's only worth 2. But if she's still alive at round 5, and then the only one on an objective, or she fights someone off of the objective, that's 5-point swing for her still being alive.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, Spleen Thief, thank you for subscribing. Big love to you. Let's go deep down here. So let's just quickly look at the map. The Owen Jackson designed the map, which is super sweet. How do you feel about this map? Quite foresty. You got any thoughts where we might be battling here, Joe?
I am curious if we'll get someone directly in the middle of this ruins. For some cover. Yep. And then otherwise you've got these trees are pretty large, so you might be able to get a unit of archers in there, but everyone else is combat, and it looks like the units are way too big to fit in here. So I would assume, Marathi's moving up.
Yeah, we are not seeing defensive Marathi. We're not seeing Marathi saved until later turns. We've seen aggressive Marathi here. Priority roll coming in. She's obviously... The other thing as well is, normally when you're looking at these units of like combat snakes, so these Bloodstalkers here, not the Bloodstalkers, sorry, the Blood Sisters, who are the combat variants, the ability to pile in the hero phase coming out of Marathi wholly within 24 means that, of course... you can't remove the buff piece either. You literally can't remove their ability to pile in the hero phase for another 2 turns. It's not possible to do, and so it's available the whole time. And obviously they're racking up CP each. Absolutely, there's only one available right now because he's used that Calibron teleport. Joe, Calibron not taking a lot pre the Marathi book. It's really upticked how many Calibron lists we're seeing, right?
Yeah, I know that there's been a player locally to me that's run it back when you could flip places with Marathi and that kind of thing. But having like a pre-built teleport that's impossible to stop, it's a really big play. We've seen it with Change Hosts. We've seen it with Seraphon. Like, those teleports are a huge, huge play in the game.
Absolutely. So we're into the shooting phase now. And we're seeing the bow snakes again shooting into the gore grunters, looking to just whittle this down. I think this is a smart play ultimately, because what he's doing here, and this has kind of been my raison d'etre for the past year or so, Joe. I feel like it's a solid trick. Is there's a lot of wounds in these gore grunters, and obviously the savage Orruks, and of course the Maw Crusher even, but there's only 10 wounds inside those little units, and if you just whip them away, you really change how much. Like, you change screens that aren't available, you change like little scoring units that you can trade off. I really like early game taking out a bunch of these like little 10-man, 5-man like cavalry units and nipping them off the board. If I'm not able to engage with my big threat pieces into my opponent's threat pieces, making it so that they don't have as much board presence feels like a really good move to me.
Oh, and that, and also reducing the threat saturation, right? Like, threat saturation is huge right now, because if there's 4 to 6 units of Daughters of Khaine right now, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or so, 9 to 10 units of orcs, just like the 1-to-1 ratio of units here is not the same. So being able to clear those out and at least get some breathing room for the daughters is going to be huge for them.
Agreed. I think it's going to be super important. Oh, but however, in a fit of bravery, with a bunch of snakes eyeballing him, he's like, to be fair, he is a maniac that's riding a boar without a saddle. But he saw all of his bros murdered by arrows fired from snake women, and he was like, nah, I'm brave enough. I'm staying. I'm keeping myself on the board. So he passed his battle shock test with a wound left. He couldn't be more furious. All livid.
He is pissed.
He is, absolutely. So he's there keeping. I mean, he's not going to do much, but it's just nice emotionally for all of us, right? Which means we're into the priority role. Okay. So before priority, though, of course. So Star Strike has landed right here into no man's land, where, unfortunately for Daughters of Khaine, they did not prep overly well. Don't forget, we got the teleports. They can run and charge 2d6, so these guys can just nip across the board. Marathi can go over here. There's loads of options,
Yep.
so they can pivot
But
quite
they're
nicely.
Absolutely, but they are facing down like the entire combat threat of the the war clan right now. So I mean,
So moving into the priority role, it's gone. So the priority role has been won by the Big War. However, that doesn't mean they're going to take the turn. That's the important conversation here for you guys to remember. Like a lot of people call it the double turn role. Obviously, that's not right. It's the priority role, and being able to make the decision here on what he wants to do. So Stefan, who is running, AZ, sorry, who's running the Orcs. He's going to be measuring out all of his ranges. Is he going to be looking to get into? Looks like he's eyeing up just throwing the Maw Crusher in and doing some damage, right? It's an interesting kind of conversation because actually, if he doesn't engage right now with his combat, a couple of things happen, I think, ultimately. If he does engage, it allows the Daughters of Khaine to use their command ability to pile in their hero phase and engage in. So that's a tough call. However, if he doesn't, it allows the Daughters of Khaine to fire off the Bloodstalkers again, do some more damage, and most importantly, throw Morathi in here, which I think is the plan, and just pin this whole army back. I feel like that's the aim.
she can tank the entire combat focus right here in one model. She'll just sit right in the middle, and just everyone.
Okay.
Like Big War's taking it.
Big War has taken the turn, so a lot of options there. I feel like being pinned in Morathi was more of the issue than anything else.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. And then ultimately, Big War got the opportunity here to do exactly what I said to do to the Orruk, to the Daughters of Khaine. Send that big Mega Boss or Maw Crusher over, smash through a unit if he can. That reduces how many units are on the board for scoring. Because really, look at this. Actually, we haven't talked about this much. Bodies on the board, big significant difference for the Urruks here, Jack.
Well, yeah, this one Savage Orc unit, like I said before, is the entire model count of the Daughters of Khaine in one unit. And he's got 9 other units. So he has a minimum of 9 more models than the Daughters. But we can tell just by looking at it, that's definitely not the case, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And then the Daughters have a free teleport, but he's got a free hero phase move. So this whole Savage Orc unit can move. The Maw Crusher can move another 14. Like it could be a big push. He can actually put his entire army in combat with the Daughters right now, and then just leave Morathi alive.
I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see the Savage Orcs move away, free up some space. I think we'll actually see the Savage Orcs move across the board to the left, as I'm looking at it from the Orruks side. I think we'll see them move over to the left. We might see the Gore Grunters double move and end up in combat as well, giving even more wounds there. And then Maw Crusher at the same time, just overload with threats. Then he's got the unit of Gore Grunters to go hold the objective. If not Gore Grunters, sorry, Savage Orc Boys to go hold the objective up at the top if he wants. And the Big Stabbers are just floating around as well. The Big Stabbers can threaten to be a counterpunch unit hidden here. So a load of options. He might not, though.
And also, big thing, he's got his entire +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 to charges up. He's ready to go. He's ready to fight.
How many? So that's the big war points that we talked about before. Again, Joe, for people who just joined us, just want to quickly talk about that.
Yep. Yeah. So for the big war, instead of getting summoning points like you do in other magical armies, they get their war points, right? So the bigger the war, the more powers they get.
Keep going.
No, yep. No, so yeah, the more points they get, the bigger the war is, the more abilities they'll have. Whether it's +1 to cast, whether it's +1 to hit, +1 to wound. They also have an ability, and I think you forgot last turn that when a unit takes damage, if they're 9 inches, if they're more than 9 inches away from their opponents, they can actually move D6 at the end of every phase that they take damage. So these Savage Orc boys, could have moved twice last turn, going D6 inches, right? So yeah, they could have backed out like out of range. They could have pushed closer to range because maybe Morathi would have just tagged one model in. Like, we don't know. But instead they just sat in here. They could have moved into cover, try to cover up against those arrows more. But sometimes in the heat of the moment, you do forget things. But no, so it's going to be pretty big, especially now that the whole army's +1 to hit, +1 to wound.
Yeah,
These Savage
right.
Orc boys are going to be 2+ to hit, 2+ to wound, and it's going to be nuts.
It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. And they've got double move on them as well. And I feel we've just seen a load of measuring pointing forward. Maybe what he's going to look to do is swamp that unit of snakes at the back of the board. Just fill them with wounds. Keep Morathi out of the fight for another turn. Tag the end with the Maw Crusher. So swamp this unit here. Tag the end with the Maw Crusher. Get involved. And make it so that this brick of snakes who don't fly just can't get past that. The wall of green. Hashtag green wall is what we're calling it. You could definitely see a load of Orruks being like, build this wall! Build this wall!
We got rid of that a month ago. Come on now.
Yeah, so it's going to be strong. Like you say, when you get those faction points up, +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 to charge, these guys are strong. The snakes, though, do we think the snakes are going to be able to punch their way out of it, these Blood Sisters? Because, I mean, that's the big question coming out of this match. Can the Blood Sisters punch through? They've got 3 attacks each. Hit on 3s, wound on 3s, only rend 1, and then 1 damage each. And at the end, they're able to do kind of an electric shock mortal wound thing, very much like Eels, but not quite as good as Eels, basically. So,
right?
Yeah. It's not as good. But it's a lot of attacks. 30 attacks coming out of that unit of snakes. 3s and 3s. And obviously being able to do that in the hero phase. So you could be looking at 60 attacks. It just doesn't have particularly good rend. And it's flat damage 1. So for like an elite combat unit, obviously I think one of the reasons Hearthguard Berserkers are so good is they've got that damage 2 on their broadaxes, right? That profile is just so... Have they got damage 2? It might actually just be damage 1. So you'll have to ignore me.
Yeah, and a big thing too to keep in mind that if these snakes are only rend 1, that Maw Crush's his relic is actually treat all rend 1 weapons as rend 0, so they're actually not rending him at all if they're rend 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
that's a pretty big deal.
We've also got Mind Razor in this army, so that's a spell that he's going to be able to cast, which is going to up the damage and the rend and the ability to do so. So, and we've already heard that Mind Razor is already off on one of the 2 units of the Blood Sisters. It's the ones in the center. Yeah, it's here. This unit of Blood Sisters, they've got Mind Razor already off on them. So they're pretty good because you have to beat the bravery of your opponent, right? And I'm pretty certain that they're going to smash it against the Savage Orcs. But, we're doing it. We are doing it. Look at this. One mental Savage Orc on the ball boy saw all his mates die. Were like, lads, they killed my brothers. And they were like, oh no, we're going to get him for that. Off they go.
They're going to be eating good tonight is what they think, right?
Oh,
they are monster hunters, right? The Savage Orcs are monster hunters, and, them snake ladies, they might taste good. They don't know. They need to figure it out.
They do need to figure it out. Like, he's them monsters, boss.
They're like, I don't know, maybe. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, this is going to be a lot of output. And I know for a fact that AZ is aware of the output of Stefan's army, so that's the Urruks against Daughters of Khaine. He knows about that output. He just doesn't look scared, ultimately. He looks very comfortable.
I mean, when are orcs scared? Ever, right?
I mean... Okay, we've just got a couple of lads. Look, we're flowing, boss. We're flying up here. Yeah, and also Morathi Khaine, little Morathi, still pretty good in a fight now. But he's going to be able to put some wounds onto little Morathi here if he gets the charge off, which is a good start. Which, without engaging with Big Morathi, is going to put 2 wounds, those 3 wounds in, and then Big Morathi will obviously come in next turn, and that'll be the 6 wounds. So it means that Morathi might not survive beyond turn 3. Maybe he's intentionally put Morathi here, though, because maybe there's a mirror pool happening in the next turn. Maybe that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a swap. Maybe who's going to mirror pool.
It looks like there is room. to put the big Marathi right here.
Yeah.
So if the swap happens, it's possible. It looks like.
Yeah, I think. Oh dear. Apparently, even my English accent is bad, and as an English fella, that makes sense. That's fine. If anyone wants to play Age of Sigmar on TTS, like I see a comment in the chat, I did put a video up on YouTube that you guys can go and search. It will just quickly take you through the process of how to set it up. Super easy to do. And you can play with your friends. This is actually part of an ongoing event. Maybe we'll have Owen. Owen normally at some point pops up with some news of what's happening around the tabletop. So we'll see if we're going to get him soon to let us know. But maybe he isn't doing that today. We didn't talk about it. We assumed. But yeah, and whoever does the top 8 of this event, so we'll be covering 2 more matches today. So we're here all day. The top 8 of this event are going to go through to a single elimination ladder match. That's right, single elimination ladder match to see who is the best of this Mortal Realms. Because it's only a 3-day game event. However, we are live again tomorrow.
82 players.
82 players.
So many players for 3 days, or for only 3 rounds.
One-dayer. It's a one-dayer.
Yeah.
82 players for a one-dayer. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Arguably, like it might be one of the largest events of the year so far. And that's not to say there aren't really large events. Like normally, if you guys haven't watched competitive Age of Sigmar before, and I do encourage you to do so, we do live coverage all the time of it when it's actually in the real world, and we do TTS coverage as well. I mean, there's just some brilliant events and matches that sometimes run to 200, almost 50 players in some cases. There's team events, there's doubles events, there's so many good events. So whenever Coco Vovo does go away, I do encourage you to go out there. They're so fun, it's so engaging. It's just, in my opinion, it's what Warhammer's about. I know that's not true for everyone, but it's how I feel, Joe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I made it to one event last year, and kind of like right in the end of like August or something like that, and it just reminded me of like how good the community is when you're actually like in person, when you're like able to like actually like sit down and like hang out with your mates, like playing games. You're playing 5 games minimum usually at an event in 2 days, so like some people don't play that in a year, right? But you get to get that done in one. Like if you're only going to play 1 or 2 days a year, make it an event and play 5. Right? Like if you're going to make a day out of playing the game, play 5 games with 5 potentially new people, and you'll have at least 5 new friends by the end of it. But I'm sure those 5 people came with friends, and like it's wonderful when you're actually playing live. So,
yeah, it's the best. Yeah. It's basically go to an event, maybe make 5 new friends for life. I mean, could you literally ask for a bet? Like, it's worth the ticket price for that alone. Yeah, me and Joe met at events. Like, that's how life is. Also, some other things in the chat. If you guys just want to just for the overlay, just to help you guys out. Faction points are everyone has some. Well, not everyone. Some people have some sort of mechanic for points. Be it summoning points. Be it in this case big war points. Be it whatever. And obviously, so we're just doing this. Normally, when we do live coverage, I've got Scrivo doing tech. Yeah, there's table bosses. We've got one today. His name's Matt. He's brilliant. There's a bunch of stuff, and we do that under the TSM banner now because it's so pro. I don't even have to update her. Like I'm just a princess who turns up in the commentary box and does the commentating. However, with TTS and all that other stuff, we've just lowered it down to honest wargamer standards, which is a text file on the overlay. And me doing the updates.
At least it's honest, man. Right? That's it. That's all we need.
I don't even understand how to update the stuff in the TSN overlays now. I'm like, it just confuses me. I just run away. So
you just open up the file, you look at it, and then you just put it back down.
I don't even do that. Like there's an app. There's an app. It's so confusing. Right, let's get back to the match. Right, so look at this. The big unit of Savage Orcs has moved up. More Crusher. He's doing what all monsters do. Joe, you use quite a few monsters. So this is the end of the movement phase now. This is what the board looks like. Joe, do you want to explain to people about tagging units on the side with a big monster?
Yeah. So what's going to happen here, or like what we assume that the mock crusher's plan is that when it charges, if it tags just the one model on the edge here instead of charging into the front of all five of these here, or all five of these models, when they go to pile in, if the farthest model away from the actual model in combat is closer to another unit, it actually won't be able to pull it to pile in to the mock crusher, reducing the amount of models that are actually going to be able to fight their mock crusher. So the mock crusher will actually fight more on its own terms against the most or against least damage coming in, right? So it can do its full potential against the entire unit, but the rest of the unit that it's actually fighting gets very minimal attacks on the way back in, and that's what those big monsters are going to like a lot more than taking on all 60 attacks.
Yeah, it's a much smarter play. It's a much smarter play. There's a couple of quality of life announcements. We've just got a charge here. A charge happened, and it only rolled a 3, Joe. Which unit was that on? Was that on the Maw-Crush or the Savage Orruks? I think is the big question. And then also...
It's on the Maw-Crusher that might still be in, because it would be with +1, so they're going to be looking at a 4. So maybe the Maw-Crusher's in. We hope. We'll see.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I just... I think maybe. Let's go find out. Table boss, or we're finding out.
They do have command points. Looks like they did spend a command point. It looks like he might be rerolling that charge.
He's rerolling the charge. So he's got a 7. Don't forget he gets +2 to this charge. So he's rolled a 7. Interesting. Looking to just clip the edge of this unit of Blood Sisters. I think he was kind of. Do you think he was hoping to get into the Blood Sisters at the back? Potentially.
I think so because they so when a Maw-Crusher charges, especially at full health, it gets 9 dice to roll against its target unit, and on a 5+ it does a mortal wound, and if it clears that unit away from 3 inches, it will actually get to charge again, do that effect all over again. But if not, it should still be able to pile in and do combat damage.
So yeah, he's just unfortunately, he's really wanted to hit into that 10, right? So he's unfortunately only clipped the unit of 5, which is the screen at the end of the day. That 5 was there as the screen, so he's not got where he needed to be, which is a little bit unfortunate there. It's the Dice Gods, baby. That's how the game works. It's super good. I just want to do a quick shout-out to Peter Long on his birthday. He's just shouted out that he's watching live. Appreciate that. If any of you do want to tweet any pictures of your setups, I love a good hashtag rate my setup on Twitter or on Facebook. Like a little photo of your setup always makes me smile. So we've just heard about another charge. We've got a 7-inch charge from the Savage Orruks. Not forgetting that they get a +3 here. And they still have fly. Flying. Honestly, giving the ability to make Orruks fly is maybe one of the best rules in Age of Sigmar. Flying Orruks who are going 10 inches is flawless. So yeah.
Cannot handle.
I want to see this movie. It's like Sharknado, but it's not. Yeah, Green-nado.
Green. Yeah, it's just green. Just a bunch of Tasmanian devils, right? That cartoon from way back in the day. But also, when you look at this here, so counterintuitive from when the Maw-Crusher tried to charge earlier and wanted to potentially tag the 10-pack of Blood Sisters, we actually have this 30-pack of Savage Orruks not wanting to touch Morathi whatsoever. Look at that. They're staying outside that 3-inch mark. Mm-hmm. They just don't want to pull in the invincible, unkillable Morathi. So that she's going to be alive until turn 4 now? Yeah, 4,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. She's going to be alive. Yeah, they haven't decided. Because they've brought in little Morathi.
The small one. Yep. They do the small one, but they don't want to fight the big one because, I mean, who does?
Yeah,
right?
The output from the big Morathi is the Orknado. Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. The Orknado is pretty scary. Shane Big War can't smash and bash, says Prop Joe. I agree with you here. But definitely going into Little Morathi and looking to do those 3 wounds into Little Marathi. So just for you guys at home, just in case you weren't aware, Little Marathi, Big Marathi, they share a wound pool basically. They're only allowed to take 3 per player turn. So in total, like over 4 player turns, or normally 2 turns, but obviously priority rolls can kind of mess around with that a little bit. Marathi, you'll stay alive for all of that. Little one is a wizard and pretty good in a fight. Like, okay for like a buff support piece kind of thing. Not quite, but a little bit more than that. So genuinely pretty decent and makes like a Night Questor's like laughing. Although I guess she is half of a god, so she's allowed to be good in a fight, But Big Marathi, oh
and like
boy.
twice the points, right?
Yeah. Big Marathi is all about it, and so staying out of range. Also, this is top of turn 2, which means we're into turn 2, and the Orruks went first. So the Daughters of Khaine in the hero phase are going to be able to pile in and attack because of a command ability coming from Marathi. So there's loads of output. You could get a combat phase out of it now and 2 combat phases next turn. So this isn't like even a smart decision. This is just not a stupid decision. It's kind of the other way to.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Not even fighting Little Marathi.
Oh, because do they count as one model? Like if you're
they're
in combat
2 units.
Yeah, okay, so they're 2 units, so that doesn't. Okay, all right, fair enough. I mean, he clearly here is looking to, because I'm pretty certain 3 inches. Let's just take a quick look. No, he hasn't locked in. Great play there from Stefan with his Daughters of Khaine. So as you can see, this unit of Blood Sisters behind. What he could have done, so the Savage Orcs could have, let's look at the micromanagement here. This is super great. We're never going to be able to do this in real life unless we get a billion cameras. As you can see here, we haven't brought in this unit in the back. So that was two good things here. That means that the Daughters of Khaine can't pile in, which is a bonus for the Orruks, but it also means that their unit of Blood Sisters can move wherever they want, which is a great thing for the Daughters of Khaine. So depending on how the Daughters of Khaine player feels about this, he's either been able to, next turn he'll be able to move with those guys and charge where he wants to, maybe into the Maw Crusher, which is a bonus for him, or he's just lost out on being able to pile in an attack. So it really does, it depends on what he wants to. If he'd have piled in here, oh yeah, no, he's measured it the whole way. I'm pretty certain. I think it was intentional by the Daughters of Khaine player to always be outside. Oh, yeah, be outside. Yeah, what would you have done, Joe? Would you have, because you did this. We played a game in Chicago.
Yep.
It's a pretty common combo, right? Is you put a screen up and then you put another unit behind it that's within 3 inches of the front line, so you can pile an attack over.
Especially
the top,
with longer weapons, right? Like yes, like because like these models are on 40mm bases, right? So if they had standard 1-inch weapons, they wouldn't be able to do anything over the top of these. But since they've got 2-inch weapons, if they wanted it to be in combat, there is a way that they could have put the screens in, that if they charge the screen, that these guys would still be able to pile in. It looks like they didn't quite do that by having them within 3 inches of where the 1/2 inch of this unit is, right? Like there's ways to do that, but maybe they wanted them to be free to be able to charge wherever they want to next round. It could be that could be the case, right? Like if they don't want to have to retreat, and they could still run, like move, run, and charge, and come around this way, right? Now they can hit the whole unit of Orcs with all 10 of them instead of, only potentially like the 6 that could pile in here. So yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. So Maw Crusher's impact hits. I don't know if we did any damage with the impact hits. We need to find out from our table boss. Okay, all right, and then the charge here, Joe. This is a Joe Cry sort of charge. Look at this. Not much committed, actually. Normally you'd think, that's a big old charge. Why didn't that block go forward? And he hasn't. He's used this line to create a screen. Now, can Marathi still pick out a single model? Can Marathi still pick out a single model? I think is a great question. So we've just seen, wow, look at that. We've seen 3 Blood Sisters come out of this unit here. 3 units out of these, the Bloodstalkers have been murdered from that unit of Savage Orruks. Joe, did you get any? any?
Oh, it's from the impact hits.
No, not from the impact
Or is
hits.
it
I was
just
wondering
combat?
if you know if Marathi could eat a model out.
Not anymore. It looks like that is that one's actually gone.
Ooh.
At least from the big one, it is. Yeah, it's a big deal. This guy right here, very terrifying. If that was still the case.
Yeah, this guy would be murdered in nothing. Hey, Zugi, this event is called Hammer Time. If you type !events into the list or !event, you'll get the draw up for the different lists and the different pairings. It looks like he was measuring to see who was in range here. Interesting that the Maw Crusher didn't go, but I don't think he's particularly scared, right?
Not of one model, right? Because so this model here, like these Savage Orcs are going to be closer to this end model than the Mega Boss is to this one, right? So this model here is going to be closer to these Savage Orcs, which means that when it piles in, it actually has to move closer to the Savage Orcs, even though it's not in combat with them, just because the model itself is closer, which is going to mean that this unit's not going to be able to pile in exactly the way it likes, because they can't break coherency, right? And they only have a 1-inch coherency.
Yeah.
So they're only going to be able to move maybe just down, and that would be at best, I think.
So we're seeing Destructive Bolt being done now. Just remembering to cover that base and do those mortal wounds. I don't know where we're going to see those. 2 mortals. So he's killed one of the snakes out of here. Only two.
You pulled the right one, I think.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Yeah, because what he really wants to do. Okay, and then they're going to attack in those blood sisters. Sorry, Mega Boss and Maw Crusher definitely was looking for that charge into that brick of 10 at the back. I think he's going to be a bit disappointed he didn't get it ultimately. But yeah, sorry, we're talking about this chaining out. Let's talk about this Orruk charge. This Orruk charge here. As you can see, not everything pushed into the enemy. And that's intentional, right? Because he's going to be taking a battle shock test sometime soon. And he's going to want that unit somewhere near a character. And we have 2 characters down here. Also, importantly, he's going to want to screen Marathi from getting into all of his meat over on this side. So he's created himself a lovely little screen at the same time. So there we go. That's pretty awesome.
And then the screen, not only from the charges, but from the teleports as well, right? So when you have a unit spread out like this, instead of it being all in one spot, the 9-inch bubble away Blood Sisters did no damage to the Maw Crusher. that basically ethereal to them. Maw Crusher took no damage.
Yeah. No red. Well, the red one won't hurt him. You're making a great point, Joe. Please do carry on with it.
Yeah, so when these Hours of Khaine teleport, they have to be 9 inches away, which is the case with most teleports, right? But so if your unit is all balled up, like say like the Savage Orcs over here, like on boards right here, if your unit is all bunched up in one space, that 9-inch bubble is only going to be so big. But right now, that 9-inch bubble is huge, right? Because you get 9-inch from the top of this line, 9 inches from the side of this line, all the way down this.
Keep going.
Looks like all the snakes are dead now.
Yeah.
Maw Crusher doing his business. Good job, Maw Crusher.
Good job. Yeah, I'm drawing out the kind of like what I think the zones are. So everything to the other side of the yellow. So everything inside the yellow is there's no deep striking around that region. And so he's been able to control like the board space quite effectively. So he's only going to be able to teleport into any of the red area here. Is pretty much where he's got, and also splitting the difference between, which I think is quite clever, between the Savage Orcs and here, so you can't even teleport into there as well. So he's controlled a lot of the board space for teleport. So he's almost built like, he's close enough that he doesn't really need to do any teleporting overly,
right?
But yeah.
But especially like if we're guarding these heroes, right? So if like that 9 inches is going to come off of this 5-man now, I guess, pack of Gorgruntas. That's going to come all the way over here, right? And this zone, he has to move into if he wants to. There's no teleporting in here. That anti-teleport zone right now is almost 2/3 of the board.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
give or take. And so, why teleport at that point, right? It's just not going to be beneficial for you
in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's just not going to be helpful at all. Moon Tyranid, thanks for resubscribing. Big love to you. Good morning, Deviant Doc. Hope you're well. Deviant Doc, you'll be proud to know that both players that we see here are of German. They're German fellas, so they're representing your nation in it. One of the really exciting things. One of the really exciting things about this event is obviously there are people from all over the world playing. Germans, French. I don't know any of the countries. America.
Do we have any Canadians in here too? Maybe in the event.
Yeah, no, maybe. Right. So, just gonna quickly let you know. So, with knowing that there are people playing from all over the country, world. That's the right one. There's loads of people playing at this event, and Owen. That's right. The Owen Jackson is going to be giving us an update right now for everything that's been happening around the event. So we're going to jump over to him now. Joe, don't talk while Owen's talking. That easy. Loads of love. Good luck, Owen.
Yep, perfect.
Thank you, Rob. I hope you've got it. Yeah, that's seamless transition. An absolute pro. Just want to make sure everyone's aware that Rob's doing about 8 people's jobs at the moment. So big props to Rob and Joe. And I don't even know what time it is with Joe there, but it must be some ungodly hour. Maximum respect to those boys. So we're into the round. I think we're over an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes into the round. So just wanted to give you all a little bit of an update about some of the matches that are going on around the tables. Obviously, nobody's lost yet. Starstrike tends to be quite a late game sort of win condition because you've got those 15 points available to you in the 5th battle round. So I don't expect to get any results sort of for at least another half an hour, 40 minutes. Looking around the tables, table 2, we've got a South London Legionnaire, Hugh Halligan. He's facing off against Ian Marley. So that's it's like a Mexican standoff. They've met, the dawn has risen, and they've all got their guns out. So it's Cities of Sigmar Dwarves versus the 21 Kurnoth Bow Hunters. I think the dwarves make better guns, so I reckon Hugh might have that one. Then jump into table 6. We've got another Cities of Sigmar. This is Philip Cartiev, who's obviously, anyone who watches the show regularly knows that Philip often does well in real life or on these TTS tournaments. He's bringing his Hammerhall Phoenix Guard list with the Flamespire. I think he's facing off against a Daughters of Khaine Hagnar build. Matthew Goldsborough against Antu is a big game on table 9. That's Lumineth Realm Lords versus the single Sons of Behemat list. Benjamin Saver on table 11 playing Lumineth against his former love of Daughters of Khaine. So he's going to know what his opponent Gabriel Andrew how he can do. One of my tips to win potentially is the triple Bastiladon Seraphon list run by Tavi Gain. That's on table 23 against Alan Joins. Now, Alan we saw running the in the last tournament in the fat middle. He was running the slaves. He took out the Nagash on 3 places of power. So Alan does very well, but he's running KO Filth, loads of big boats and a vortex. So that'll be an interesting another gunfight. And then jumping all the way down, let's see, table 35. This is Stephen Follows with a Tzeentch Archeon against Tempest Eye Cities of Sigmar. I have actually got I've got some men in the field. This is weird. It's like the next development. We're looking. Steve's made some big aggressive plays early on. He sent a unit of Screamers up the board and has managed to tag in the 30 Iron Drakes, which is big for him. He's got reroll saves on Archeon, and he's used his Destiny dice, good old cheater dice, to make a 9-inch charge into the Longbeard. So he's got +1 attack for the rest of the game. So basically, Steve knows what he's doing with that. But the Longbeards have got a first wound on Archeon. Yeah, take it. So that's cool. And then on table 37, Laurie is running Techless Lumineth build against Oliver Dempsey, another Caliber on Daughters of Khaine. Oliver pushed Big Marathi forward early with all the buffs, but feel he may have overextended a bit with the 10 Blood Sisters. Laurie's capitalised. He's charging his Wardens into them, and he's strung out with the charge back towards his own table edge to get within inspiring range of Techless And yeah, he's taking out the snakes. The objectives have dropped in Laurie's favour, so he's looking pretty good there. And then, yes, the big one, but we all need to know about. We've got 4 turtles. So Age of Sebmar running 4 Leviatons against 120 Savage Orruks. So it's like, I don't know, it's going to be carnage. Leonardo and Donatello, they're into combat. Donatello's whiffed, but Leonardo's picked up the slack. And the Iron Jaws are taking a beating from the 2 turtles. So we're seeing some pure turtle power on table 40. I'm really intrigued to see how that works out, and I reckon Seb might have some fun today. But yeah, that's it. I think that's a little snapshot of what's going on around the tables. I'm sure that you want to get back to the red hot action on the main table. So with that, I think I'm going to pass you back to Rob and Joe. Cheers, guys.
Wow, what a wonderful fella that man, Owen Jackson. Got nothing but love for him.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, sounds like always. Got a great event going on. So if you guys have just joined us, welcome back. This is one match of all the matches that Owen was just talking about in this 3-round event taking place on TTS Hammer Time 7. We're into turn 2 is where we are. We've already had turn 1. We're playing Star Strike. The objective has landed here. It lands at the start of turn 2, and we're waiting for turn 3, where we're going to wait for 2 more objectives to land in the opponent's deployments, which is the bottom and the top. So we're still waiting for that. Turn 1, the Orruks went first. They didn't do very much. They kind of just stood around this kind of center area at the bottom. Daughters of Khaine, they teleported up because they're Calibron, a unit of Bloodstalkers who are shooting. They killed all but one Savage Orruk on a ball boy, who's now on 1 wound. He's our favourite. He's our hero now. He's there with 1 wound, doing not much. Me is a legend. Me and Joe, by the way, here. This is Joe. He stayed alive, and then that's pretty much all that happened. Priority roll, though, went to the Orruks. The Orruks took the turn, and then they pushed out quite aggressively. We got this unit of Savage Orruks move forward. They took out 3 Bloodstalkers here. The Maw-Crusher double moved, ended up over here. Didn't get the charge off that he wanted, which was disappointing. He definitely wanted to charge into this unit here of Blood Sisters. However, he did take out another unit of 5 Blood Sisters. We're now into Daughters of Khaine. You pardon me? Some cheetah dice. Yeah, he'd love some cheetah dice. And then, of course he'd have loved that charge. And now we're into Daughters of Khaine turn 2. Marathi currently got no wounds taken to Marathi, I don't think. Yeah, no wounds done to Marathi at all. We have seen already a hero phase pile-in from this unit of Bloodstalkers. So yeah, into this unit of Orruks. And we're just seeing now, we're seeing +6 war points have been spent. So he spent 5, +2 to unbind Mind Razor, which we're seeing trying to be cast right now. That's going to be massive in their ability to deal with these Savage Orruks. It's going to give them an extra rend, and it's going to make them damage 2. So, and he's got to beat a 7. With +2, you got to fancy your chances. And he's got it. He has got it. That's massive. That's a huge swing. Huge swing. There is so important for the Savage Orruk player there. He's down to 21 war points. Still, I think, +1 to hit and +1 to wound. That's huge. That's huge. All you need. That's all you need. That's massive. That unbind then was huge. It's like so unfortunate. I think that's one of the things about the Daughters of Khaine army that's always been a bit tough. They really haven't had a good magic dominance. And I mean, to be fair, they probably didn't need it ever, because they had spells they didn't even need to cast, right? Witch Brew and the different prayers meant they didn't even really need to bother. But that's massive, because there's still a load of wounds in this Savage Orruk brick that he wants to get rid of. He wants to push these out. The Blood Sisters, they're not going to be able to get very many attacks in. So they're pinned in by their own unit of Stalkers. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we see the command point being spent to bring this unit of Bloodstalkers out of the fight. Joe, what do you think? Mm-hmm.
Going to take this one this turn. I mean, they could, but they have to get past a Maw Crusher in the meantime, right? It's a big deal.
It's a good point. There's been loads of talking that they've not heard you do, Joe, for 2 minutes because of technical issues from me. Apologies, Twitch chat, but love to you. There you go. I got you back. Do you want to remake your point? Please do.
Yeah, I just think, they're going to have to start threatening this back corner, which they're not going to have a lot of room to because of our single hero Savage Orc boy, the legend himself, guarding this corner from teleports. So they're going to have to fight their way out of that. And then it looks like the terrain is actually eating the Daughters of Khaine right now. Volcanic terrain going nuts.
So we just heard volcanic has exploded here. So this volcanic piece of terrain has started to do some mortal wounds, which is there equally is there damned? No, there isn't. It's the only place of volcanic terrain. Very interesting here. So it's exploded. I don't know how you get a volcanic tree. Obviously, if Grinaldi in the chat, he would 100% know that. I think that the entire realm of fire is just volcanoes. So we're just talking about the different wounds done on. We got a wound onto the Melusite Iron Scale there. I don't think Morathi took anything, but the Blood Sisters took 3. The other unit took 1. It's just a really unfortunate level of explosiveness there.
Events. Yeah, I mean, no Mind Razor and volcanic terrain at the same time. It's just
that's rough.
Demoralizing at that point.
Also, could you imagine how the 40k community would be if they had terrain that just exploded? They'd be like, "No, this is so not okay." You just think about players like, "Lol, did the trees explode?" Hilarious. So Morathi into the movement phase now. That Mind Razor not going off. Sorry, Joe, say that again.
That old mystical was incredible when you just your whole army would just stop moving on the one.
So good. It's going to be interesting whether or not we see this unit of Blood Sisters try and go into that Maw Crusher. That Maw Crusher's taken 2 wounds now, but I don't think we're going to see them go in because probably the Blood Sisters do. They do no actual damage or nothing significant. He's still got the War Chanter buff, so he's still got +1 damage on him. And they need to threaten this objective down here. So don't forget they've got the Melusite Iron Scale, so they can run and charge 2d6, so they can go super fast. Okay, and we've already seen that put on them. So as you can see here, this buff piece, this unit of Blood Sisters have got run and charge. They move 8 and 2d6, which sounds great, Joe, because you hear 12. You're like, I can move 2d6, and you hear 12.
But it's actually 3.
But it could be 3. Now you can spend a CP to make one of those results 6. So the command ability, and he is sat on a command point, to make it a 6.
No, it's the whole roll of 6 because it turns your run into a 6.
Yes, it does.
Not even
your whole roll becomes 6. However, he did roll a 7, so spot on average. So that is a 15-inch move. So yeah, that's pretty good, and it gets him close enough.
Small.
Not small, so he's got a 6-inch charge available here. So he's going to be looking to take this objective. Some counter punching though. So the priority roll goes to Urruks. We've got Gore Grunters, who are not bad in a fight. Big stabbers who just love stabbing. It's all they talk about. Super boring. Like me, when I go to a party, they're like, "You can talk about Warhammer again." I'm like, "Yes, I am." If you go to a big stabber party, I mean, probably you'll get stabbed, but also everyone won't shut up about stabbing. I heard. I don't know if this is true.
I mean, of the armies that like stabbing, I would think Orcs is probably one of the better ones, and then these guys are just extra excited about it.
Yeah, I've heard very much like Inuits having 100 words for snow. Urruks have over 100 words for stabbing. Which I would love the Twitch chat to come up with any of the versions of stabbing ways that they could describe it. So we've seen Morathi move down the board. looking to pin the edge of this unit. And we've got little baby Morathi is going to plan. Look at that. Is going to plan to charge the big Maw Crusher. Now, normally you'd be like, this is suicidal, but that unit cannot die ultimately.
For another 4 turns, like if she makes it in, right? Insane. Like this turn and 3 more after. It's nuts.
Yeah.
And you can also fight down here, like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's in 2 places at once, and she can even do some wounds to the Maw Crusher. But most importantly, he's going to be able to not charge around and fight where he wants to fight. So he's going to have to retreat, and he hasn't got retreat and charge ability, so he's not going to be able to engage. So I think that is aggressive tickling. And also to answer Deviant Donk's question in the chat, it's thick centaur ladies is what I'm all about, not satyr ladies. There's
definitely some stonks there.
There is some stonks available to it's a whole different story. Apparently I've opened up a strange kind of worms for him. That's how I felt too when I saw the pictures. So that's all I'm going to say. I understand.
Also,
go on.
Big thing about the Maw Crusher fight is that Maw Crusher is also ethereal to Baby Morathi. She's only run 1.
Yeah.
So he's a big ignoring that. So it's big. It's big.
No, there's no way for DOK to win, says Eric Sorban. He thinks. Okay, so we're just seeing right now the Medusa's done some mortal wounds in the shooting phase. We're going to start seeing the shooting phase coming on. I feel like a good turn from the Daughters of Khaine. What he really wants to do with Morathi is charge into the Gore Grunters, in my opinion, instead of into. I'd almost maybe not even charge into the Orruks. Or maybe, I guess, with the combat, the attacks up at the top, Morathi at the bottom, maybe you just clear them out. But if you can get Morathi into this back line and start dealing with the Gore Grunters, then once the next objective land, he's got a lot of, and he gets a priority roll, he's got a lot of board control, and he's whittling units down very quickly. I think it's not a bad spot for Daughters of Khaine at all.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting too, especially with the upcoming priority roll. I think is going to be massive, right? Because we're going to get 2 more objectives on the table. So depending on where those fall, that's going to be a huge play for the game. Like if they land over here, I know our legend is I know our legend is hanging on, but I don't think our legend could hang on to a full Morathi here. You know, so it's definitely going to be big. Or at least it could be big, right? But if it falls right here, the Maw Crusher and the rest of the Orcs, that'd be definitely the Orcs game at that point. And they wouldn't even have to fight anymore, right? They would just retreat onto those objectives and just sit there because they'd be up, right? They'd be up for 2 or 3 turns. Very, very difficult to come back from that.
Okay, so we've just seen what's happened here. So you guys were looking at some stuff on the board. Morathi only rolled a 5-inch charge, and then they didn't think that was good enough. So turn that into a 10. And that 10-inch charge brought them right into where I think it's most important to be. That unit of Gore Grunters means the next turn they're not going to be able to run off and do any counter punching. I think that's super important. That 10-inch charge, very valuable, bringing them in. Means Matthew also can put some wounds in if they want. But he did use a CP, so there's no CP left. So that's no CP left at the top there. For Daughters of Khaine, and they've still got some pretty clutch charges, mainly this unit of Blood Sisters charging. And they failed their charge, and they've re-rolled it, and they've only turned it into a 3. So Joe, even though they rolled that kind of 7 on the run, they did not make it across the board, and that charge hasn't brought them onto the objective. That is big. Daughters of Khaine have had some real rough. This has been a rough turn for them. They didn't get Mind Razor off. They've had to re-roll 2 different charges, so they really
got hit by Volcanic.
They got hit by Volcanic. They've had a rubbish turn, actually. They've had a rubbish turn. And did Baby Morathi go in, I guess, is the next question. Maybe Baby Morathi wasn't even planning on going in at any point. And Morathi failed that charge as well. They were looking for a 4.
These blood
and
sisters do not like Orc blood. That's what we know.
They needed a 7. That's 3 failed charges. Didn't get off Mind Razor, and we've also had Volcanic happen. That's got to be really rough. That sometimes can take a big emotional toll, right? As the game goes on, you can
absolutely.
be like, you've played your heart out, and the dice have let you down. And that's rough. That's rough because I feel like there's been some really good plays here. The big charge here from Marathi, that's a positive. That's a positive. But again, not getting those points on the board, which I really should update, is actually pretty important, right?
No, it's massive, and especially since like the Orcs, like again, still have a massive model, advantage on the table at the moment. Their wound advantage is still, insane right now. And on top of that, Marathi's not won't be able to die until turn 4, and these guys fighting at the very tail end, fighting 1 or 2 Orcs at a time. She might not even die until turn 5 at this point, right? Because if they don't do 3 wounds this round in combat, they're she's not going to die till turn 5, which is really good for Marathi. But they're going to be down a minimum of 2 points on the objectives, and then they have to take all 3 next round to catch up, and the Orcs will have to at least 2, right, for the Orcs not to and then the Orcs all they need is 1, and they'll still be in the running of the game. So it's it's a pretty rough match right now.
Yeah, it is. So we just heard about the Blood Sisters. The Blood Sisters have gone in. Don't forget, there's not the full whack of them now because we lost them to Volcanic. But they've only killed 3 Savage Urruks there. 3 Savage Urruks. So not really. Strategy. Now they've still got some mortal wounds to come in as well. So that might get us a little bit. But this is tough, and they're really not punching through this big wild unit as well. These boys love a fight and they love flying. So they're
right. Yep.
So we'll see them removed. Looking to keep them locked into combat, I think, is going to be the important point. Not freeing Marathi up either at the bottom. Marathi still. Oh no.
Yep, I think that's the right play. I'm pretty sure that's the right play because she's still going to be able to pile in to these Gorgruntas, but I think trying to remove Marathi from fighting this Orcs is going to help him keep the model advantage on the table.
Interesting, but he frees up the threat into the Prophet and into the War Dock. I feel that's an issue. Oh, he's going to pile in with the Gorgrunters, protect the characters. That's super nice with his next activation. So being able to keep it so that Marathi is going to be... he's not going to be able to move anymore. But I think he probably could still move around this main model. This unit here, this Gorgrunter, pile around.
Potentially, but he's still stopped right here, right, by this guy.
Yeah, it's true.
At the very tail end.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of people feeling that's a ballsy move. It's a ballsy move, Joe. Let's see how it works out for him, shall we? Keeping that in there. That is fascinating that he's decided to do that.
And even then, I honestly think Marathi is going to want to fight these Orcs, the Savage Orcs squad anyway, just to help reduce the numbers of models on the table, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're still down
because this unit still is worth his entire army worth of models right now, and that's just not good. Not good for the daughters.
Not good. I mean, also not pinning in the Maw Crusher. I mean, priority roll comes in next. He is going to be able to grab this objective. He is going to be able to pin the Maw Crusher in and do what what we just spoke about. I just don't know if he'll even do the 3 wounds to Marathi with the Gorgrunters. I mean, they've got a lot of attacks. I'm not feeling it.
They do, but yeah, she's a big beast.
Oh, look, there you go. You can still pile in. So he hasn't... I don't know if he's even achieved anything in that situation, ultimately. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, not certain. Priority roll is going to be massive. It is always important as well. Absolutely. And don't forget, it's currently gone you go, I go. If the Urruks go next, it's no double turn. It's just... it's what I love about the priority roll, because the next roll... Really, if it's a double turn, which would be for Daughters of Khaine, it's just going to put them back into the fight. Because currently the tempo is not they're not the tempo isn't for them. They're not in the ascendancy. It's really for the big war. So actually, the next priority roll, if it just goes you go I go, and the Urruks get it, then that's a tough time for these guys. That's what I love about the priority roll, its ability to bring the game back around in some cases.
It's massive. But yeah, I do agree that the Orcs probably benefit. Like their play style definitely is we prefer you to go once in between, because like a lot of their stuff can overextend. But so if you don't have the second turn to like recuperate, the Orcs can just keep pushing their advantage, right? Especially when they got it so early on.
Exactly. And look at that. As you can see, that we've seen. Do we see 4, maybe more? Table boss. How many do we see die there? Loads. 9. Wow. 9 have just come in from Marathi
Without
there.
Mind Razor. Oof.
Yeah. I think Mind Razor was going to go on the Blood Sisters, to be honest.
But Marathi going into these Orcs again, I definitely think was the right play there.
Yeah, and look, he's just trying to keep one unit within. So the Maw-Crusher is the general. So trying to keep one model within 6. There you go. So he can spend a CP, keep that unit alive. He's got 1 CP in the bank to keep this unit on the board, because that battle shot test is going to be pretty rough. By the way,
and the Daughters have 0 of that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've got none of that. So they've got no CP, so there's no battle. I mean, are they worried about any battle shot tests? I don't think so. No, there's no actual output come in. The Gore Grunters the Gore Grunters did our 3 wounds that we needed into the Shadow Queen.
Ooh.
So
there we go.
We've got our 3 wounds into the Shadow Queen. That's sweet. We're happy with that. The boys, they're going to pile in now. They've still got some attacks. I guess they're going to go into the Blood Sisters and try and just whittle a few more bodies off the board. I mean, it doesn't look terrible for Daughters of Khaine on the priority. They go through the Gore Grunters, take them out, because they can pile in the hero phase, so they pile in the hero phase from the command ability. They can pile in, and then in the combat phase, Marathi can just go through the Gore Grunters. I think that charge was super, super important. I guess, and then there's not loads left for the Urruks, truthfully. The big stabbers.
The 4 big stabbers hiding in the corner, though.
Yeah, okay. Are we rating the big stabbers? Are we rating the 87 ways to say the word stabber?
Oh yeah. Yeah, these Blood Sisters. I think if Daughters get the next turn and forget about these big stabbers, it's going to be a bad day for them.
Yeah.
Like,
so
first of all, like, we're going to need the objectives to fall in the Daughters' place, like where they want it to go, and then also not forget about these big stabbers. I think that's a big play.
Oh, here we go. CP, stop the boys from running. We are now into the priority roll. It's pretty big, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, but objectives are coming down first. Let us know who you want to win it in the chat. Who do you think needs it? That's the other question. So here we go. Objectives landing. This is going to be pretty important. For dropping these boys on the board. I think they've landed near the Maw-Crusher.
It's not good.
It's not good. The score is accurate on the screen. It's currently 2-0. We're going into the priority roll. Oh, it's pretty rough. Hawkeye, you're always winning. And then 5. So it's going on this 5. I hope this is right. I think our one savage Orruk, our ball boy earlier, who survived everything because he's so furious. He's got that objective for himself. It's landed. He knew. He's over the moon. Look at him. 1 wound.
Honestly, though, I think this is the Orcs game at this point. That objective dropping on the Maw-Crusher, the one on the far side here, guarded by these big stabbers. I think, like, our legend over here is cute, but I think we could just we can give up that objective completely and just play for these 2, and I think the Orcs will have it.
Oh, okay. You think Baron von Pig? I mean, I think if the objectives, I'm not sure. I think this is a pretty strong play. Like, priority roll goes to Daughters of Khaine. I think they're in a really solid place. They can take out this center objective. They can contest over there this turn. They can definitely shoot off and then move a unit into here. So I think that they're like, and then they're going to punch through this. Honestly, I think if either of the players get the priority role, which is such an obvious statement, then of course they're going to take that. I think they take the game away. But I think honestly, if Daughters of Khaine get it, I think this is their game as much as it's everyone else's. Honestly, I really do. I really, really do. Because Marathi's just going to go through this unit. Here we go. It's a roll-off. It's a roll-off. Oh, the drama.
I honestly think if the daughters get it, like if they get priority, I think that'll be a mistake for the daughters player.
Oh! It's gone to the Orruks. The Orruks have got the priority here. They are now in the ascendancy. They can choose to take it. Joe, would you take it? Twitch chat, would you take it? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I think these big stabbers now need to get here. I think the big stabbers to these blood sisters is big, but also at the same time, this mega boss can take care of whatever he wants to, right? Because now he can clean up whatever he wants to. These guys are going to retreat into here, four grunters, and these guys are going to guard this one. But the big stabbers coming through to clean up this unit. He's gonna have 9. He's gonna have 11 points this turn. 11-0, top of 3.
Yeah. I agree with you.
It's a big fight back.
Yeah, it'll be a scramble, I think, because he not only does he need to score though, he does need to take these objectives. I would probably switch positions. I'd put the Maw Crusher down here at the bottom, and then smash into this unit of sisters while also grabbing the objective. Move the Savage Boar Boys up, so I grab that objective as well. I mean, I can throw the big stabbers in at the same time, and then
the legend that is the Savage Orc Boar.
Yeah, and then the one Savage Orc Boar Boy, I would just run here and hide as he maniacally laughs on his one wound. Taking this objective. I mean, that's a really rough couple of turns for the Daughters of Khaine player, if I'm honest with you. Absolutely. Some failed charges, some failed spellcasting, which is a little easier, and even that volcanic going off. Pretty rough.
Hilarious.
Yeah, also hilarious. That's the game. It's pretty good. It looks like it's there's some stonks available for the Urruks at this point, which is weird, right? Because there was a time, Joe, whenever Daughters of Khaine would be matched into Urruks,
anything,
or Ironjaws, or anything, yeah. But Ironjaws especially, it was just a non-game, right?
Absolutely. Those witches blending through every orc that you ever seen while eating cake at the same time. It was nuts. But this maybe the tides have turned, Let's see. Maybe the snakes weren't the right play.
Well, this is a very different sort of snake. This is a very different Daughters of Khaine list to the ones we're used to. As we said at the top, it's a Calibron list. It's not Hagnar. It doesn't have a bunch of witch elves or Sisters of Slaughter in here. So you made the really great point at the top of the show that, of course, they're just outscored. Where really outbodying Daughters of Khaine at one point was an issue. Sometimes they'd have up to 30, 110 bodies on the board. Where in this case they've had a lot less than that. They haven't even hit 50. So yeah, like
big changes there. Very big changes.
Big changes, and really that's why some of these armies that rely on these kind of like elite or more elite-ish units, so Stormcast, Daughters of Khaine, with the snakes, Fire Slayers. Like, they really have to, the good example would be the difference between Fire Slayers and Stormcast. Stormcast don't really bring the punch that the Fire Slayers do. And the Fire Slayers have got the bodies, or they don't have the bodies, they're more elite, but they are super tanky and they can do the fight, whereas the Stormcast are on the opposite end of that, and they can be kind of tanky, but they're not so much into the fight. So there's a problem with the number of bodies you have on the board a lot of the time, which I think is interesting. You knew it was the beginning and the end when the tree exploded, to be fair. I mean, I knew it was the beginning and the end when this one Savage Orruk on one wound passed his battle shock. I was like, all right, okay, this is what we're going. We're just in love with this guy. He's just super happy. His pig's mad.
Can we get a zoom in on him? Full on,
he's the hero of the day.
Like.
Yeah. Live to win.
he's definitely not stopped believing in his savageness. That is for sure.
Yeah, he's super happy. Right, so into the hero phase for Orruks, because Orruks have taken the turn, right? Pretty certain from our table boss. That's the case. And so we can... So he's just used some wild points to get +2 to his cast. He's up to 24, so first thing he obviously had to do was generate his wild points. And then even then, so he's looking to... So +1 save has gone on to the Savage Orruk boys, and then he's also obviously put +1 damage onto the Gore Grunters. I imagine those Gore Grunters maybe going to try and stay in this fight, and then just keep chipping wounds off Marathi.
Like those three wounds, yeah.
So, say that again.
Just trying to take those 3 wounds off of her. I mean, I don't know if it's necessary at this point, but.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I would probably be trying to maintain the wounds is what I'd probably be trying to do at this point. I'd be maintaining the Gore Grunters like wound cap. I wouldn't be interested in doing those wounds to Marathi at all, to be honest. And I'd just be looking to run away here, grab these objectives. I would be looking to reduce the bodies my opponent has, though. So I would be, he's going into the back. That's interesting. So I guess he's going to use the Maw Crusher.
Not what we call it at all.
I thought he was going to bring the Maw Crusher down. I thought he was going to bring the Maw Crusher down, but instead he's obviously going around the back here, looking to smash into these, and then he's going to bring... Is he going to bring the big stabbers up to deal with the Blood Sisters? Is that the plan?
I wonder, actually, if he's going to take these Savage Orc boars and wall off here, right? Because that one unit can still hold both objectives. So if they go a 5x1 here, they can't come in to hit the big stabbers. They'll still charge like these Orc boys and kill them for sure. But then on turn 4, we'd actually have all 4 of these boys able to fight whatever they want to.
Oh, so he's actually Mighty Destroyer charged into Marathi.
Interesting.
So he's going to do the impact hit damage into Marathi now, do the 3 wounds, and then I guess he's going to look to pile in? I don't know if that's the right decision at all. Oh, he has to, right?
I don't even...
Doesn't Mighty Destroyers, he has to charge?
He does have to charge, but I don't think he has to go into the closest, but I'll double check.
Oh, he's now retreating into the movement phase, and then he's gonna retreat and pile in later. So that's what we're seeing. So he's done his 3 wounds, which is a bit of a bonus. He'll retreat now in the movement phase, and then he's going to be able to pile in. And the reason he's able to pile in, Joe, is because he's made a charge move. If that makes sense.
That's true.
If that makes sense. So, so he's had to charge. He's charged into Marathi.
Have you charged today? Yes.
Yes, I have charged. Sweet. Then you get to pile in. So that's that little mechanic. Plocor, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. Thanks to everyone watching us live. I hope you're well. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I love learning that. That's super fun. Let us know who you're rooting for. It's super okay. I'm joined by Joe Cryer. He is my co-host today. I'm joined by Adam Mumford for Game 2, and then Dan and Supervisor Game 3. And my table boss for the day, who is a legend, is the wonderful intern Matt, just being the boss babe that he is. Moonstone is in your room. I imagine the answer will be lots of people are in their room. Right, so we just see this movement phase now. Here, we'll find out what's going on. But we're going to be finding out in but a minute what is going on around the rest of the event, because this is one match of.
Is the Owen Jackson back?
Yeah, he will be back soon. Yeah, this is one match of a bunch of matches.
What a beautiful man!
At Hammer Time 7, this event, some top 8 are going to go through and qualify. Okay, perfect. So to find out what's happening at the rest of the event now, we're going to go over to our man Owen Jackson. He's going to let us know what's going on. Thanks for listening, and we'll take a small break. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, Rob. Cheers, Joe. So I'm doing the old table roving reporter, but digitally. It's great. I don't even have to move, and I can see what's going on around the build, around the event. So, oh god, I just see myself on screen. Never mind. Okay, cool. So, yes, we've got a few results in. Obviously, Star Strike, as we talked about earlier, is quite a late game win condition, but sometimes you just smash your opponent in an hour and a half. Yes, so table 4. Unfortunately, Destruction fans, the mixed destruction list with Godrak and the Mega Gargant and the Pigs, run by Jay Denny, that suffered a loss. Lewis Swan, running the Blood Gullet Ogres, he took that out for a 19-1 win. And then we've got one other result came in, which was table 39. So John Kitely, he's running Seraphon, and he's taken out the Smash Bat. The Smash Bat got smashed. We're all sad about that. So Tobias's Flesh Eater Court's Hollow Morn list with the Smash Bat, the nuclear Vargulf, has fizzled out. So yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, so two powerful armies, both getting their wins there with Seraphon and the Ogres. And then looking around the rest of the tables, I do have an update from, let me see, Stephen Follows. He's playing with his Tzeentch Archeon build, and there's been some fun times have been had there. So let's have a quick look. Yeah, so this is on table 35. Steve pushed Archeon into a unit of 30 Iron Drakes and just one-shotted all the dwarfs. So yeah, that's sad. Wow. I'm sure Grinaldi is absolutely furious with that result. Love you, man. So yeah, Tzeentch are looking pretty dominant, but three screamers, Rob. This one's for Roblin. 3 screamers just flew over a wizard and did 7 mortal wounds. So, you know,
legends.
The Tzeentch are having a wonderful time. Then I think Laurie's got it on table 37. He's pushed his wardens into the Daughters of Khaine build, and yeah, it does look like looking here, he's used Speed of Hish on a big unit of wardens, and they've moved so far. Those jacked up elves with their big pointy sticks, they've moved so far. They're now within a couple of inches of his opponent's board edge. So people who think that Dawn Rider's the only fast element of a Lumineth army, Wardens go bang, wardens go fast. So yeah, I think Laurie's in the ascendancy there. Now let's do it live. Let's have a little look at my results submission and see if we've got anything else. We've got one more result just come in. This is on table 5. Let's see who's taken that one out. This is like such an information-rich environment. I'm struggling at the moment. But yeah, so let's have a look. Table 5. Who was playing on table 5? Let's see. This is great telly. I'm sure you want to see what's going on elsewhere. Table 5, Cameron Wallace versus WTM 13. I tell you what I'm going to do. It's going to take me too long to try and find that information. I'll do a proper update later. But yeah, sounds like Tzeentch Archeon smashing it up, and Ogres and Seraphon have got their wins as well. So nothing to see. There's, I'm sure that if we had data, we could have been able to probably predict those results. But obviously we don't. So we're just going to go back to seeing some people throw some digital toys at each other. I think Rob's ready, Joe's ready. They were born ready, and they're back with you now. Cheers, guys.
Welcome back. Thank you so much to Owen there. It's me and Joe and table boss Matt back at this match between Daughters of Khaine and Orruk Warclans. It's a Calibron Daughters of Khaine list. You can find the list in the chat, !lists. And then we are facing against a Big War Orruk Warclans list. We are into turn 3. The priority roll was actually won by the Orruks here. The objectives have just landed in the battle plan Star Strike. We've seen them land here and here, which is super good. Now, lots has happened over the last turn, but really turn 2 was pretty massive. Priority roll was won into turn 2 by the Orruks. They charged a massive unit of 30 Savage Orruks here into a unit of blood stalkers. However, then into and they also threw a Maw Crush up and killed a unit of Blood Sisters here as well. They also claimed this objective. It was all about this game, Joe. I don't know if you agree with this. Pivoted around the poor luck really for Daughters of Khaine in turn 2. Didn't get Mind Razor off onto this unit of Blood Sisters, so when they did engage with the Savage Orruks, they only killed 4. Morathi failed a charge and had to re-roll it, meant she did get in, and she was still able to pile an attack into Savage Orruks and kill 7, but failed this charge on the Blood Sisters to go and grab this unit here off the unit of Savage Boar Boys. They also failed a charge with little baby Morathi, who was unable to go and pin in this Maw Crusher, so they just weren't able to get anything. Now moving into the Savage, so moving into turn 3 where the priority roll was 1, and I feel like, Joe, it was a knife edge, right? Had it gone to the Urruks, I feel like they're really up tempo. However, I feel if Daughters of Khaine had got it, they'd have been able to bring this game back quite significantly, right?
Yeah, I think they would have been able to bring the points in line at least for a turn, but I definitely think these back pocket big stabbers was going to help clear this middle right hand side here, but especially since the big Morathi is hiding away from the Maw Crusher, because I think if you really wanted to pin in the Maw Crusher and take it down a bit, the big Morathi would be the way to go for that. But I mean, yeah, they would have been able to at least bring the points up for that round. I'm not sure if they would have been able to pull it out for the rest of the game, but it's still, like, it would have been better for them for sure. But being like losing this round's priority is a really big deal, especially after like you said, the turn last round was not great. Failing the spell, having exploding trees happen upon them, and failing 3/4 of their charges, just not a good look when you're trying to when you're just trying to get places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Now, some of the janky stuff that occurred was the Mega Boss of Maw Crusher has to charge. Charging Morathi did 3 more wounds into Morathi there, so it's down to 6. Then retreated out in the movement phase and dropped here, so he's going to look to do this charge into the Blood Sisters and then hold on to this objective at the top at the same time. This unit of Savage Boar Boys, it looks like they've just moved off the objective to leave some room for these big stabbers who are going for this big old charge here.
You know it.
However, they've only rolled a 7, so we're just working out if that's enough to get in here into this unit, which makes loads of sense. We also saw in the movement phase this unit of Savage Orruks, like Joe predicted, moved away out of combat to hold, but it's really about the legend that is the crazy wild-eyed Savage Urukon pig who's held this back objective here on that 1 wound. I mean, has he even been able to
I think he's secretly a shaman. He knew what was going on. He knew what was happening.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact he didn't engage, like, I think he's been able to run 1 Savage Urukon to this objective here, which I think is important because... Okay. Yeah, wow. Okay, so the big stabbers have failed that charge. That's pretty big. That is, I mean, they love stabbing.
Re-rolling?
Interesting. Yeah, no re-roll on that, I don't think. And what I find quite exciting about that, Joe, is ultimately they're big stabbers, not big chargers. That's not what they're geared up for.
That is true. They
mainly love stabbing. And
it
not
is a big difference.
Big difference. If they're big chargers, I'd been really upset, but they weren't.
They're not marauders, that's for sure.
No. What is
They're
interesting? Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about this charge because this looks quite interesting because having this unit of Savage Boars in this fight seems like a bad idea, but I can almost guarantee that the plan is for the Mega Boss and Maw Crusher to go into this Blood Sisters unit and just wipe them out. And then what he's really using is the charge to create a little screen here. So he's just using this little charge to create a little screen to block off this objective, which I think is a clever little play. And if you double that up with the Maw Crusher, there's really not much his opponent can do to get over here. And he's going to really struggle as well because this unit of Blood Sisters, they've got to run across the board and get in range and start trying to grab those objectives. This Bloodstalker unit can unfortunately get rid of our hero, our hero on the pig, and then Morathi also can deal with the Savage Orruks. But it's looking really good for Orcs right now.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a huge, difficult push to come off of this at this point, especially with Marathi now down to half her wounds, which means she's gonna be slower now. Like she's gonna need that teleport or just the rerollable charge, unless she's just going into these guys. But even then, she has to clear both squads, right?
Yeah, exactly. So More Crusher is piling in now, just like we predicted, and we've got to see if the More Crusher with +1 to hit and +1 to wound, she's pretty terrifying from the Big War ability, but does not have +1 damage. That ability has been put onto the Gorgrunters, who retreated out of combat. Marathi, not giving Marathi. He didn't need to though, because he did the wounds already, right, in the hero phase with the charge, so he doesn't need to. So he's also in a bit of a pickle here because I suppose he can actually move off the objective because he still owns it, right? So if he wants to,
no one's held it yet, so not quite.
Right, of course. So he can't move off the objective. So I was going to say he doesn't want to do too many mortal wounds with his smashing bulk in this situation. Otherwise, this one blood sister unit, this one blood sister.
But he just piled in, right? So no smashing bulk right now.
Oh,
it's
good point.
It's just the pile in.
You are 100% correct. So there we go. Well done. So none of that. So he's just going to smash through this unit. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah.
And I think this wall of Orruk is a huge deal for next turn. For the daughters, not being able to push past it.
Oh, wow. Wow. He has just ripped them from the earth. They are all
Smash
dead.
And Bastion.
Yeah, that is...
Good crump there. A good crump.
That is some impressive punching from that War Crusher while doing it backwards as well. Who'd have thought it? And
just the tail.
Just the tail. That's all the fights as well. So that's pretty amazing. That's surgical precision from the Maw Crusher, murdering, and really tough spot now for the Daughters of Khaine. Really tough.
Very cunning but brutal there. Very cunning but brutal.
Very cunning. Yeah, that was wild. So that's going to bring him up. He's going to score all those points now, which is pretty devastating. And Daughters of Khaine have really got to work. I mean, they haven't lost loads. They've lost one unit of 5 Blood Sisters, one unit and another unit of 10 Blood Sisters. And that's what they've lost so far. Like, it's not tons, but they're really now relying on Marathi to do the work here. And it's whether or not she can, I guess, is the kind of main point. So, yeah, we're now on 11 victory points. 11 victory points for the Orruks versus 0 to Daughters of Khaine right now, which is... It's pretty tough. A couple of unit of Khainite Shadowstalkers would work really well in this list, Joe. Teleport onto these objectives.
So wonderful.
Grab them. They'd be sweet right now. And it's interesting we haven't seen those yet.
It's like teleports are really good, Rob. I think we've talked about this.
So if you were Daughters of Khaine, what would you try and do in this situation, Joe?
I think what's probably going to have to happen here is this side looks like they could do a 9-inch teleport and probably make it to the other side of this objective on this. So if they can make it to that with one of these more than one model unit, so not with Marathi, it's going to have to be with someone else. Unless we get big teleport Marathi here, then little Marathi walks or runs or charges over here. I think that would be the play to take this one. The run and charge would have to make it to here. It's going to be... Ooh. So the Democrats taken 5 mortal wounds. They might be able to start bringing that down. That's going to be interesting, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a struggle for them, though, because they're going to have to start taking all 3 objectives every turn in order to swing this around, because the Orcs are just up so high at the moment. And they're going to be probably another turn down after this one, honestly.
They're in a really, really tough spot, ultimately. But the Maw Crusher going down that quickly. I mean, also don't forget the Maw Crusher's gained a wound, right? Gained a wound from murdering a unit. So it's kind of semi-healing its way up, which is quite fun. Yeah. But we'll see. I think... So he's taken 4 mortal wounds so far this turn. We're seeing look at that teleport. So Calibron, the reason this army isn't as survivable as it was... is because it's got that ability to teleport. And look at that. Boof. That unit of Bloodstalkers have just taken this objective at the top in that phase, and as you can see, the commandability being measured from Morathi. So Morathi is going to be able to make this unit shoot. So we're going to see those shots going into the Maw Crusher as well from the Bloodstalkers, looking to whittle him down even more. And then Morathi can charge in, but it doesn't matter. They've grabbed that objective. They can also grab this bottom objective as well quite easily. There's only 2 models holding that objective. So this unit of Blood Sisters could charge over. They could grab that. Morathi can come in and beat that up as well. And if he loses,
I think we're going to see a reverse of the play at the beginning, where the Maw Crusher take the edge. We might see Morathi also taking just the edge, although she can tank the whole unit. But just for piling in purposes, we might see her try to pin the side here, which will be pretty interesting. Kind of a reverse tactic there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Mind Raid. Okay, so Mind Raid has been cast on a 9. He's trying to unbind it. He's rolled a 7, and unfortunately, he hasn't unbound it. He hasn't unbound it, and he used D6 war points to make that happen. However, when he rolled the D6, very much like whenever I try and do it, he rolled the max 6, taking him down to 18, and that's pretty important because now he isn't +1 to wound. He's only +1 to hit, taking him below that 20 threshold. So he spent a maximum resource for a minimum result, which is pretty rough, ultimately. So, and that Mind Razor off on that unit of Blood Sisters means that they should absolutely wallop that unit of Savage Orruks, right? They should just blend through them.
Yeah, and most likely, right? The only thing that they probably can't take out is our legend over here. He's safe. We know that already, right?
Yeah.
Legend in the corner.
That's all. Yeah, this Savage
unkillable.
Is unkillable. 1 wound. Killing him at this point is just the worst. Hey, Gammy, hope you're well. Yeah, I would say the Blood Sisters are going to do some solid work, and I feel like it also kind of maybe frees Morathi up. Morathi doesn't then have to go into the Savage Orcs, but we'll see. Where's the Iron Scale as well? Is the Iron Scale still there? So yeah, so the Iron Scale is going to be able to run make this unit run 2d6. So they're going to be able to flip around this unit of Savage Orcs.
Oh no.
So if you guys have just joined us, this forest is a volcanic forest which went off last turn, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is not done exploding. It's like Mount Etna. It's just going to keep going and going and going, and it is. So it is exploded again. So the Iron Scale has taken another 2 mortal wounds, taking it down to 3. If there was any sort of chip damage coming out of the Iron Jaws army, they could finish off all the support characters so easily, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That Maw Crusher's scream is not long enough.
Okay, so we're now into hero phase shooting. We are seeing this unit of Stalkers. The Blood Stalkers are going to be shot into the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. He's only got 11 out of 7 wounds left. So whether or not we're going to see him die is going to be the drama, really. That's all the drama. Oh, so 3 mortals so far. Takes him down to 8. 8 wounds left on the Maw Crusher. He's ignoring the rend, right?
Yep, those are mortals, and then these are rend 1, so they should be ignoring that.
Yeah. So it's don't roll badly on these saves. We want the Mega Boss. Okay, he's done okay. So he's another 2. So he's down to 6 wounds left. I mean, there's still the shooting phase and combat for Morathi. If Morathi can ever actually make a charge. I don't think she's ever actually made a charge this game.
Not on the first roll, at least.
She can't do that. But we'll see. Yeah, so we'll see how she does. We've still got the movement phase to come. So we've got this Blood Sister unit they're going to run. And they're going to run 2d6 as well and charge, thanks to this Iron Scale in here as well. And they've got Mind Razor off, so they've got all of the bonuses. So whether or not we're going to see this Savage Orruk unit die. What about the play after? Because there's a lot of wounds and bodies still on this side of the board, controlling the board space, right? I think that's kind of the the big play here. Those big stabbers and these gore grunters can still run up the board, take out that unit of bloodstalkers at any point. And then the problem is those blood sisters are going to be trapped at that bottom left-hand corner. They have to stay there for basically the game because they're going to have to just keep holding that objective. That means Morathi's going to have to run off. I would maybe put Morathi into the... I don't know, Joe. Where would you put Morathi this turn?
I would see where 12 inches, I think, could take her up the middle and then try and charge this wall of boar boys. Because I mean, like, if she makes like that long bomb charge, it's going to, like, she could potentially hit these big stabbers and take those guys out. Because she is, like, if she fights first, she could probably take out these big stabbers. But if they fight first, they're going to put, I suppose, they can't even do the 3 wounds this turn. So she's going to want to at least fight them before they fight her next turn. I think is going to be the play for these big stabbers, and then she'd actually be on this objective. And she might be able to take it, not by herself, but it'd be a good push, I think.
Yeah, I guess actually Morathi now at this stage has to be careful of where she actually does charge in. She's down to 6 wounds of the 12. So doesn't want to take another 3 wounds in this combat phase. So maybe baby Morathi doesn't even want to go into the Maw Crusher. Ultimately, doesn't need to. So going to want to keep her alive for as long as possible. But then what does Big Morathi do? Because Big Morathi is a big punchy piece that needs to go out there and do some work. You need to get a job and work 9 to 5. Come on, Morathi, let's get in.
Yeah, that's why for that one, I think I'm thinking either these Savage boar boys here, or the Maw Crusher, I think. Or if she gets the long bomb charge, she could probably go after these big stabbers.
Agreed.
Is what I'm thinking. And then for Hawkeye in the chat, he the Mega Boss of Maw Crusher, you guys have already said it in the chat, but for those who are not in the chat, he's got the Plate of Perfect Protection artifact from the Realm of Metal, which is turn all Rend 1 into Rend Dash.
Which is really good, because there isn't loads of Rend 2 knocking around. Like, not loads and loads. And it does just mean that 3-up save is even more reliable. So pseudo-ethereal.
Absolutely, especially against this army, right?
Yeah.
Mind Razor's not up, I guess.
You are?
Yeah, but when Mind Razor's not up, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's a big war list. Yeah, not an Iron Jaws list. It is 100% a big war list. Should say that on the overlay. It does. There you go. Nice. I little bit of quality control here, and a question to the Twitch chat. Putting up the sub faction as opposed to putting up the the main faction. So instead of putting Daughters of Khaine versus Iron Jaws, not Iron Jaws, Orruk Warclans. Is that more helpful? It's more helpful for me knowing it's Big War versus Calibron as opposed to Orruk's. So just questioning you guys in the chat. Yeah, it is. All right, sweet. All right, good. I know maybe for new people, maybe that's a little bit confusing, but I feel like it's that's more of a fringe case than anything else. So appreciate you guys. Can you do both? We could do both. It's just I'm always scared about putting tons of text on the board ultimately. So we could do both. The link to the list is in !lists, and also if you guys want to look at the pairings and the round, you can type !event, and it's going to bring up all the information available to you. When we obviously got 2 more games today, so you guys can tune in for those, and then the top 8 from this event are going to go through to an elimination style tournament, which we're also going to do coverage of as well. So that's going to be super fun, and very much looking forward to it. All right, so into the movement phase. Joe, this unit of Blood Sisters did not go into the Savage Orruk unit at the bottom at all.
Did Morathi even move?
Morathi hasn't moved yet. We haven't seen Morathi move. We've seen Baby Morathi has moved. We've seen the hierarchy. She's moved into the kind of center, maybe looking to charge into the Savage Boys. But the Snake Ladies haven't moved at all. Morathi now has moved onto that bottom left-hand objective. And we have seen both the Meliusai and the Blood Rat Medusa move towards the Savage Orruks. Now, I don't know if they're actually moving towards the Orruks or away from the Volcanic at this stage. I think that they're probably just running away from the exploding volcano that just keeps...
I would. It's not safe over there. They're not immune to fire. They just can't hang. So.
Yeah, the exclamation mark feature doesn't seem to work on YouTube chat, but I will try and get that working over on YouTube during the lunch break. If you guys do want to join us though on Twitch at any point, that'd be super sweet because we're trying to get those numbers high so we could try and get partner status. So if anyone wants to make the leap, but I recognize you all watch on your own streaming platform wherever you want. Big love to the two guys watching on Facebook. Right, so over into
left.
3 wounds left. Yeah, shooting phase, movement phase over. Melisai teleported. They're over there. The blood sisters, they've moved over. They're all buffed up to high heavens, and they're looking to charge into this Maw-Crush. He's only got 3 wounds left. Big Morathi moved to the bottom. The two characters.
This shooting phase is going to be pretty dirty too, actually, from the Bloodrock Medusa and Morathi going into these Orruks.
Yeah,
it's a big play too.
Do you want to explain to people how it works?
Yeah, so for the Bloodrock Medusa, they have they have a special shooting attack. It's range 10. It picks a unit. Every model, for every model that's within that range 10, they roll a dice and a 5 plus does a mortal wound. So that looks like they're probably going to get, see how many are even left? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So I mean, the 8 dice on a 5 up is going to kill probably at least an Orc or 2. And then Morathi's shooting on top of that, and then Morathi's combat, plus their charges as well, right? So there's going to be a lot of fighting over here.
Yeah, we just saw 2 Savage Orcs die already from shooting from Morathi. Morathi now... Oh! And the Melisai, the worst news ever. Our Savage Uruk, with 1 wound left, has gone to the great beast spirits in the sky to dance his final dance. He's dead. He got murdered. And now we're into the charge phase. Shooting phase over. 3 wounds left on the Maw-Crusher. The Savage Orcs. Big Morathi finally made a charge and has got a never forgotten Dwarf Penguin. We will never forget. We will never forget the legend that is. No. And then, yeah. So we've seen this charge here from the Bloodrock Medusa, charged in, so you're not going to be able to pile back in onto the objective. And there you go. There's a pinning in, a tri-pin. That's like 40k. Yeah, and now your dance is over. Thanks everyone in the chat. F's and emotes, please, for our Savage Orruk on board. He was too good for this world. Is all I can ever say. The bravest of all Orruks. What we're going to do in this charge phase over here, though, these Blood Sisters do have to go into the Maw-Crusher. It's pretty important. They're not going to want to fail that charge. Looks like they've rolled a 5. We'll just see here what they do roll. Or if they're even going to roll it. Yeah, they should do. They should do. They don't want to fail this charge, Joe. This is the charge they don't want to fail. So we'll see. They're on no CP.
This is going to be big, right? So, like, I just kind of want to go over the math, like in my head, right? So we're looking at a 6 to 18 point at the bottom of turn 3, right? So turn 4, we're looking at Orcs are probably going to ignore this one for the rest of the game.
So we just
Orcs probably going to ignore this for the rest of the game, and then so if the Orcs get the next round again, the Maw-Crusher potentially is still alive. Probably not. Mm-hmm. They might still be able to take these 2, putting them up to 26 to 6, and then if they got if the daughters get 4, 8, 12, so they'd be at 18 plus 15, they'd be at 27. So the Orcs have to get 2 objectives to potentially win the game.
Well, so let me tell you some big news. We're seeing combat being rolled out now from Morathi, but we're not seeing combat being rolled out from this unit of Blood Sisters, and that's because, again, Daughters of Khaine failed another charge. Another charge failed into the Mega Boss and Maw-Crusher. They just can't make a charge roll to save their lives, really. So again, that buffed up unit doing nothing again into this More Crushers, so they're alive. So really the combats are all going to be centered here around this unit. Marathi also didn't try and charge in either. So we didn't see that charge. So that unit Snakes, who basically are pretty much where they deployed. They haven't really moved this game. They were here and now they're here, like 3 turns later. We do have a priority roll coming up. But there you go. As you can see, Marathi and those characters making very short work of these Savage Urruks. There's really not much left to talk about.
Rob, when we talked earlier about those double, where those 2d6 run moves being, we think it's 12, but it's usually 3. We weren't thinking about charges at the time, but we should have been. We should have been thinking about charges, not
we
just.
We should have been thinking about the fact that Daughters of Khaine just can't charge into anything. Apparently, they just got no power. They're just tired. They don't have legs.
Cold-blooded, right? It's like it's early morning. The sun's not quite out yet. It's almost like 0 degrees Fahrenheit here, so below zero for you guys. Like our fake numbers, I get it. Our fake temperature. But they're just not warmed up yet, man. Maybe next round they'll be able to charge things, but they're just too tired right now.
Yeah, I appreciate. I agree with you. I like that you're getting into the lore there. I also appreciate everyone in the chat getting into the lore of exactly how Savage Urruks are born. Appreciate that loads. Hopefully, what we'll see is that Savage Urruks essence smash into the ether and produce more powerful Savage Urruks in the future. That would be nice to see.
Preferably on boars, for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be great. So these last couple of Savage Urruks going down, they've done a great job of pinning the army in for most of this. This obviously important priority roll, as is every priority roll. And there's going to be a point swing here back from 11. But there was no scoring in turn 2 at all for Daughters of Khaine, so they kind of missed that boat. However, we are losing Orc units pretty quickly. Okay, so the Savage Uruk boys that are left did 2 wounds into Marathi, which is a bit heartbreaking. Not the 3rd wound that we needed. So that means she's got 4 wounds left. She's going to be around for the next 2 player turns at least. She's not going to go down for, which is pretty amazing. So it means you could do. Don't forget, we've also got Mirror Pool as a spell available. So where little Marathi is now, big Marathi can be. We've also got the Calibron teleport. So if this unit of Savage Uruks can get out of the way, we could teleport maybe the Medusa and get that involved in the fight somewhere. If nothing else, a teleport maybe into the bottom here just to pin in a unit of Gorgon. It's probably not. They've got damage 1 on them as a buff, so they can do 2 damage apiece. So maybe they'll just end up killing that Medusa. But you only have to hold this back objective with 1 model. And really importantly, this piece of terrain isn't made of fire, and it isn't going to explode all over these snake characters they've had a rough old time near volcanoes.
Definitely not fireproof.
Right, let's see. So we're into priority roll. No, not yet. Last bit of combat coming in from this Blood Rat Medusa, and we still got the Iron Scale the Iron Scale did kill 1. Sorry, so we've got just the Medusa. Oh my god.
Back to the one-on-one.
There's back to 1 Savage Uruk on 1 wound. A new legend is born. Although I don't think he's going to be as brave, and I think he's going to run away. So
he is uninspiring, though, so we don't know.
I don't think he's brave enough. He's lost like 11 mates. Oh, wait, okay. The Iron Scale does still have an attacks, so maybe we are going to
We're holding on to faith, though, here. The one boy.
Yeah.
He's going to go the distance. He's going to go for speed.
Keep it. We love you, little Uruk. Just stay alive. That's all we want from you. But I don't think you will. Oh, he's dead.
Oh, no. And now his dance is over.
Now his dance is over. May he go to... Okay, priority roll. Joe, it's on. Oh, baby. Oh, baby, exciting times, everyone. Let me just get the points update there. So 6 points for Daughters of Khaine into that priority role. You guys are going to be able to see it live with us. It's super important here. Oh, baby. I'm excited. Let us know who you want it to go to. Twitch chat. To the moon. Orcs to the moon or not? Oh, no, it's 6-1. Daughters of Khaine got it. They got it. Daughters of Khaine. Of course.
Would you say that they snaked that priority up underneath the?
Nice. Let's go. This is pretty exciting. This brings the game back a little bit now. We're going to see the end of this Maw Crusher, probably in just the hero phase shooting, coming out of this unit of Bloodstalkers. This buffed up unit of Blood Sisters are going to be able to go into all of this stuff down here in the meaty goodness. And Morathi is going to be able to move and maybe potentially charge into these Gore Grunters. Not forgetting that the main problem for this army isn't the movement phase, it's the charge phase. They can teleport around all they want, Joe. They just don't know how to charge anything is the main problem.
Like if they can't charge at 4 inches, I don't know how they're going to charge at 9 inches. You know what I'm saying?
Hope, I think, is the only thing that they've really got going for them at this stage.
Rebellions are built on hope, so we'll see how this works out for them.
Let's see how it works out for them. Dwarf Penguin says Daughters of Khaine probably deserve a little look by now. Still won't make any charges. Agree with that. Absolutely. This is super close now, and this is the first double turn that we're seeing here. Does set up for a double going into turn 5, which could also be really important as well. Some of these charges are going to be super important here. Now, Little Morathi did move last turn, and I think we just saw being measured. As you can see, this purple line is her kind of that one Bloodstalker, Joe, is actually out of the ability to shoot inside the hero phase.
It's big.
So it's wholly within 24. So don't have it. So not being able to do that. So look at that. Big Morathi has just teleported now to be near the Maw Crusher and to hold up this side of the board. So there's some pretty dominating control of the board space here. Big Stabbers aren't going to be able to kill Morathi next turn. The Gore Grunters aren't going to be able to kill him either. So it's looking pretty rough for the Ironjaws now with this just unkillable god character just holding up this side of the. I mean, still got to roll that 9-inch charge though. That's still a thing.
That's the big deal. That's
the big deal for this army. This is where they've really struggled all game. So we'll see whether or not that's actually going to happen. Those Savage Ball Boys not really. Go on.
Yeah, I say the one thing that is going to be interesting to see though is if we can get a get 'em beat off and a 3d6 18-inch charge from these Gore Grunters back to this bottom left objective, like because I think that's going to be huge. They only need to hold 2 on this turn, and I think they probably got it. And if they can hold 2 and then get back to this one on at the same time, I think it's going to be a rough game for the Daughters after this, especially if they can't make any charges this turn. It'd be a big problem, I think.
I agree with you absolutely. I think it's super important that they get this charge off. And like it was being said in the chat, normally teleports are okay, I guess, in a world where everyone's rolling the 9. But there are so many instances where it's not a 9, or for some reason it's a 3, or you've got plus 14 to charge. So those teleports obviously super strong as well. Also really important to bring those teleports.
I think you could just have Fate Dice and be fine, but that's just...
Or you could cheat and play Zinch. That's super okay too. And don't forget the spells that we've got. So we're going to want Mind Razor. I don't know if Morathi has Mind Razor. She's got Mirror Dance, but she doesn't have Mind Razor. So we probably aren't going to get Mind Razor cast onto this unit of Snecks either, these Sneck ladies. I don't think they're getting Mind Razor going to cast on them this turn because they're out of range. Is it 18 inches? Is it just within 18 or wholly within 18? I guess is the real question.
It's an old book, so it's probably just within, I would just say.
Yeah, probably just within. But we will find out whether or not all those buffs are actually going to go onto that unit of Bloodstalkers. Because really, that unit of Bloodstalkers is the only major threat that's in here now, other than that unit of Bloodstalkers. So Blood Sisters are the combat ones, Bloodstalkers at the top. They are the shooty ones. So failed to cast Black Horror on the Maw Crusher, so we're not seeing any more mortal wounds going into the Maw Crusher right now. Was Arcane bolted at him for a cheeky... Oh, with an 11, so D3, and he's rolled the 3, I think. He's got 1 6-up save again.
No.
He's dancing on 1 wound, that Maw Crusher. So he took an Arcane Bolt, took D3, rolled it an 11, he cast it on. He's got 1 wound left right now. That's pretty rough. I don't think he's going to survive anyway, because the Bloodstalkers are going to just shoot his eyes out. He's limping now. But we'll see.
And Marathi still has her guns, but she's not close enough, it looks like, at this point.
No, I don't think so. So, yeah, I don't think we've got any more shooting. We're still in the hero phase, ultimately, so not tons there to deal with.
It is 18 inches, so she's definitely in range, so...
Oh, okay.
Stand corrected on that one.
So we've got... That's pretty much the play here. Deal with the Maw Crusher. Now, this charge looks like it's not set up to go into the Maw Crusher, instead looking to lock up the Gore Grunters and, of course... the big stabbers. The big stabbers. I mean, he should be able to punch through the big stabbers. Should be able to punch through the big stabbers pretty quickly. And he's going to want the snakes to charge in and be able to just hold all of these objectives. I think that's going to be the important point and push past this unit of Savage Boars. Tell you what, this has been a knife edge game all game, right, Joe?
Yeah, I almost wonder if Marathi even wants to charge the Gorgruntas. Because if they're in combat, they might actually be able to pile in both these top Gorgruntas onto the objective and stop.
So yeah,
keep going. Oh, looks like it's gone off. Mind Razor's gone off this turn. 4 turns later, he's got it.
Finally, Mind Razor onto this unit of Sisters again. All they got to do is roll a 3-inch charge this time. It's within their wheelhouse to do, but we'll see if they manage it. So you were saying you don't think it goes into the Gorgrunters because maybe these Gorgrunters could pile in up onto this objective, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's going to depend on this middle units charging. Like, if the Maw Crusher dies, it's going to depend on how many models you can actually get onto this objective, and if these guys could pile in. Because if it's just Big Marathi on this objective, only one of these needs to make it. If 2 of them make it, she's not taking it at all, right? And that's a big problem.
Yeah, big problem.
Because again, all they need is 2 objectives to pretty much seal the game. And if they get that on turn 4, it's going to be a pretty rough time for them, for the daughters at least.
Agreed. Yeah, I think there's some very minute changes that are going to change the shape of this game over the next couple of turns. So do stay tuned in to find out what happens. It's going to be a slower process. It's not bang bang moments, but there's going to be a lot. All these charges are going to be super important. The Maw Crusher is definitely about to die. That's going to happen sometime soon. So loads to happen here. The Maw Crusher is not a Weirden. The Maw Crusher is in fact a Meanen. Which actually it's also potentially a Deaden, which is a great point. The thing about having that Maw Crusher be a Meanen and not a Weirden, most of the damage that we saw this game, Joe, has actually come in via mortal wounds, right?
Yep, absolutely, and quite a bit of it by spells, right? At least 7, if not 9. Damage from spells? I think
more, 9-ish is coming from spells. So yeah, he could only ignore that on a 4-up if he was a Weirden, but at the end of the day, he could ignore it, right? But Deaden is what he is going to be now, so that's a good old gag. Interesting that he might shoot the Bloodstalkers into the big stabbers. He might be eyeballing.
That's a spicy play.
Stabbers. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, he wants to reduce the bodies on the board, sure. Right? That's the important part. Mm-hmm. Get rid of some bodies, get rid of some guys, and just try and make it so that if the priority roll, well, he's still got the turn, it's still got to go to orcs next, so there may be 2 orc turns coming. So he's going to want to reduce just how much he can actually put into like take in return damage, basically. I think is
yeah. But I mean, Marathi's like he's been struggling to charge all game. So I mean, if he reduces that charge, if he makes the charge even harder, it's going to be tough for him to take this middle objective back from the orcs, and then they can just leave, right? Like they can bounce out of there, like only keep what they need to, and then score that's like the second objective. Put all the effort into the second objective, and potentially seal the game. So it's a spicy move if he takes out those big javelins, I think.
Yeah, so we still got this movement phase to finish off. We still got the shooting phase to come. We'll let you know what does happening. We'll let you know what is going to happen in a moment. But we're going to go over now to Mr. Owen Jackson and find out what's happening at the rest of the event. Owen, let's see. Now.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you, Joe. Let those boys give their voice boxes a little bit of a break. So yeah, we've got like 10, 15 minutes left in the round. So there's some games where players are hurriedly trying to get them finished. But yeah, we've got quite a few results. So both Rob and I's predictions both fall flat on their face early. I have to think whether this was like a fun pick or a competitive pick. But the wonderfully named Sexual Asuego, which I think means sexual cheese, which I appreciate that greatly. That was the multitudinous host Zinch with like an absolute boatload of horrors. It turns out that the one thing that can beat that is Croak, 70 skinks, and 5 salamanders. I think it was a Zinchian bloodbath. I don't know if do they bleed horrors, or do they just sort of like split into atoms and melt away? But either way, they got punked. So yes, that was Trogdor's Seraphon took that one out. In a really interesting game on table 8, this is the Blood Crushers list. So Tim Martin against Tyler Buckets. It does look like those Blood Crushers finally popped off, and they've blown up a lot of the Nurgle army. So Buckets is on the back foot there. But yes, in terms of sort of who's winning and who we're going to see in the next round, there was a big win, actually, a 20-0 win for the Nagash and Catacross. Casper Golden Boy, Carlsmose there. He got the 20-0 versus Adam James's Legion of Blood. So Nagash and Catacross putting in the work there. But then, yeah, if I look at all the armies that have won, I won't exhaustively go through. There was, Rob will be happy with this, the 21 Kadai won. So Toggy You Later took his Legion of Chaos Ascendant to a 20-0. So that was a good win. And yeah, it looks like Destruction players are coming up big. We've got wins for Ogre Tribes. Another Ogre Tribes won. Orc Man, who we saw previously on the stream, he got a win with his big War. And then we do have Stephen Follows with his Zinch. There's a chap called the Sword of Japan. He got a win with his Zinch build. We've got 2 Seraphons also won. And also Colonel Cabbage coming in as a spare player with his Gargant list. He got a 19-1 as well. So good on your Cabbage for a variety of reasons. But yeah, that's kind of it, really. There's lots of the usual suspects at the top. We've got 3 Idnath Deepkin armies, all actually in the top 5. 3 20-0s there. So big plays there. Sven Christensen, Simon Fugelsgang, and Alex Tubb, all with their Deepkin armies doing really good with that. So, I think I need to go back and be a TO for a little bit and rule on some stuff. Rob's given me the thumbs up. Joe looks like he's ready. So I'm going to pass you back to the boys in the booth. Cheers, lads. Have fun.
Thank you very much to Owen Jackson, both our infield reporter and TO for the day, which is pretty impressive. Let's be honest.
And the Living Saints.
Yeah, he's a holy man, and we're all lucky to have him in our lives. So if you've just joined us, welcome back. Or if you've just joined us, or if you're just coming back to us, we're in a game with Daughters of Khaine, a Calibron Temple, versus a Big War Orruk Warclans list. We are into turn 4. which the priority was won by Daughters of Khaine. Lots to unpack, but ultimately this bottom left objective here is held by this Bloodwrack Medusa, as you can see. We are into the charge phase now. We just lost in the last turn. There was a Maw Crusher just here, but unfortunately has died in the shooting phase to this unit here of Bloodstalkers. We're in the charge phase now. There's been a bit of a problem with charging for this army. Oh, there we go. We have got this buffed up unit of Blood Sisters who've got Mind Razor on them. They rolled an 8 to charge. It's pretty much the highest charge they've made in the whole game. Morathi is also over here as well, so both Big Morathi and Baby Morathi are on the board. And they've got the option for a good old 9-inch charge down here and get that off. So it's looking tough for the Orruks, but scores on the board, 11 to 6. The Daughters of Khaine are going to score really big now in this turn, in turn 4. We've still got the Orruks' turn to come, and we've still got turn 5 on the board as well. Joe, how do you feel about the Orruks' chances at this point? Joe?
It's looking pretty spicy. Like if this charge is pulling in these Gorgruntas, if they're like they've got a command point, so they're probably going to be immune to battle shock. But even then, yeah, or did they be able to sneak around here? Yeah, I'm not sure how much damage they're going to be able to do. If Morathi doesn't make it in, I think it's going to be like these Savage Orcs on boards are pretty much gone. But if they can't get to the big Stabbas and the Gorgruntas, I think the Orcs might still have a chance. So
yeah,
we're going to see how much they can do here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so we've lost a big Stabber already. So they're going to be looking to do some more wounds into the big Stabbers as well. And one's also taken a wound. He's also going to want to keep outside of the +1 damage from this unit of Gore Grunters, getting super close and fiddly here. We've got some real output available here from the Orruk Warclans into this unit of Blood Sisters. This Blood Sisters unit, when it activates, is going to be able to delete the Earth, basically, and get rid of a load of different units. The countercharge coming in from the Gore Grunters would be big, but I think ultimately if that 9-inch charge comes in from Morathi, then what we're going to see is that unit of Gore Grunters pinned in, and all of these objectives held off for both the Ironjaws next turn. They've got no units left. They're running out of boys. All the lads are dancing up in the heavens. They really have got they've really not got many chances, I don't think. So we'll see what happens with this charge. We haven't had that charge yet, have we, Table Boss? I don't think. So, Morathi rolled a 6. Command point reroll. Rolled a 5.
2 of 5. Oh boy.
Yeah,
I think that might seal the game for Orcs, honestly. I think the Orcs might take it from this.
Because the Gore Grunters are going to be able to pile in, smash into that unit, right? Which I think is going to be important. Take that back objective. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, if he gets the 18-inch charge off, if he gets the 18 like the 3d6 charge, he might be able to throw them all the way over to this one here with the blood rack. And
so what Joe's referencing is this war chanter here has got a special beat, and if he does at the start of the charge phase, he's able to pick a unit, which would be these Gore Grunters, and they can charge on 3d6 as opposed to 2d6 as well. So Joe's talking about potentially trying to get that unit up there. Which I think is, I feel that. I'm vibing on that. I hear what you're saying. Not forgetting also some janky stuff with Mighty Destroyers as well in that turn is another
Absolutely.
shout. So being able to charge in the hero phase and do some combat, then retreat, and then pile in again. So you could do some, that would require them not using the get and beat. So still 1,130 points of Orruks though, and still, yeah. So there's still a lot on the board there because that unit of Gore Grunters is a good old unit, right?
Yeah, it's massive. Absolutely.
There's only 5 though. There's only 5 of them. One of them is dead.
Yep. 5 left. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so this may look like they're out of cohesion. However, the players have agreed because of how TTS models work. They kind of have a base, and sometimes if you put them here, it will end up flying up into the top of the building and all sorts of general gubbins. So they've agreed that effectively that they're in cohesion. They just can't actually show it, right?
For these 3 that are back here, right?
Yeah. However, we do have 2. 2 of these guys are going into the big stabbers. He doesn't. If the Orruks can have it, they really want to keep those stabbers alive, right? Oh, only one's dead. Interesting.
That's
and
a
then
big deal.
Explode, right, and do D3 mortals. That's going to be a thing, right? On a 4-up, and then those stabbers going in there. That could be a big deal going into that unit of Snack Ladies.
Especially with no command points left. Again at the 0 command points because of that failed charge.
Yes, yeah. All the command points actually for the Daughters of Khaine, actually, good point, have been spent on those failed charges, re-rolling those charges and using them. It's been pretty important, right, for this whole game.
Massive, yeah. It's been a massive deal for them. I mean,
So,
like for both sides, right? Because like the Orcs can now actually just have fun with Battle Shock, and the Daughters can do nothing about it. So,
yeah, agreed. Agreed. Oh, also good point. No Mighty Destroyers because the Morcus is dead. Appreciate you for saying that in the chat. Good eyes there. Right, okay, so we just wait and see what damage comes in against these Savage Ball Boys with stickers. I don't imagine that they're going to live very long. No, they are all dead. So now it's time for the lads that love to do nothing else but stab. They are going to stab away. And that unit of Gorgrunters have just been kept free and clear, right? Okay, so we didn't get any mortal wounds from the big stabber on the 4-up, so these big stabbers are going to go in now, and this might really...
And Rob,
yeah,
look at that. There's 2 models on the objective for the Orcs and only 1 for the Daughters, so they're not going to take it.
Yeah, or they're not. I don't know what the bravery is on the stabbers though. Like that's something worth checking. There is a CP available though. Bravery 6, so they've lost 2. So they could potentially have some run away here, so they could spend a CP. But I think more importantly, how much are they going to actually kill out of that unit of Blood Sisters? I think is going to be the important point. So we'll see what damage is done. Profile on the stabbers. Let's talk about these stabbers. 3 attacks each. So that's going to be 6 attacks. Hit on 3s, wound on 3s. I don't know what his war points are up to. It was 18 last time we checked.
18.
Still on 18.
So they're plus 1 to hit.
Hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s. Rend 2. So that's going to be straight through. And then D3 damage. So they could do a really good job here. We'll see. 5. Predictions are 5 are going to die. They did 9 damage. Daughters of Khaine obviously using that 6-up DPR that they've got available to them. They've taken 6, so he's lost 3 out of the unit. That's not bad from 2 dudes, right? That's not bad at all. Yeah.
They do love stabbing.
They love stabbing. They love stabbing. And actually, over the course of a game, they might even just win that fight. Which would be interesting. But it also means they don't hold that objective. Or they don't claim that objective. So that's going to be really big. That's going to be big for the score.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think the Daughters can catch up. Is my take.
On the maths.
Because at minimum...
the mortal wounds. So don't forget at the end of the combat, the mortal wounds have come out of the Blood Sisters. They've killed another big stabber, and he rolled a 6 for the D3.
Oh, so some more.
He's killed another. So we'll find out. So Battleshock has killed another Snake Lady. Oh no, sorry. The exploded big stabber has killed another Snake Lady on D3. So that's what we've seen happen there. And he spent the command point to keep the big stabber there. Really important, obviously. Super vital. So that means that unit is going to hold that objective, which means there's only going to be... he hasn't held that objective. He didn't grab that objective, did he? Or am I wrong? Oh, so the one that it looks like it isn't on it is on it. So even this
All right,
zoomed
that's
in
big.
with markers, we still don't know all the info. Okay, so yeah, he's grabbed it. So that's 18. That gives him 12 points, right? That puts him on to 18 as a total. However, we are in turn 4, and we're in turn 4 for the Iron Jaws. So the Iron Jaws are going to get this turn 4 play in here. Now, they're not going to go grab this objective in the bottom. They've got no hope there. So really, they've got to pull all of this back. So yeah, we'll see what is happening here. Alan, big shout out to you in the chat. Aldum, thanks for being here. Saurus Knight, hope you're well. Thanks all for being here. So into the Iron Jaws 4th turn. How do you feel about this, Joe?
I think it's pretty big that the Bloodster unit being down. Are they down to 5 models? Did they battle shock? Did they take nothing? Nice. Yeah, no battle shock there. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what's left. That one big stab book could still put in some work on the on those Blood Sisters, but they're mind razored, so it might just be kind of like a stay away game. Like if he can score 2 objectives twice, he might still have it. But
I mean, so both the players have got to be conscious of the fact that its time is against them. I think the round is in effect over. Ended 3 minutes ago. So the players really have got to make some decisions and make some decisions fast on what they're going to do, Joe. Because that TO, I tell you what, he will not mess about in telling you that it is over. So we'll see. They don't want to get thrown in the sin bin, which I think is where they just play Rick Astley to you every day. So don't get thrown in there.
That's my life, so I would not recommend it.
So yeah, we're just going to see what's happening in this matchup. Both players have still got both players could still win the game, like at the end of the day. But we're in Iron Jaws turn 4, right? That's where we are. That's what we're waiting. Yeah, they both lose. I agree. It would be nice to see what happens in this match. It would. But we've got to wait to find out what's happening. Is there any... Okay, sweet. All right, so we've still got some time on our hands here. So these guys have still got some time to play through, but they've only got 20 minutes to do so. So we will see what they get up to. So Mystic Shield's gone on to the Gore Grunters. I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot of actions that need to really occur, right? They just need to decide, they need to work out whether or not they kill a couple of units, really simply. They need to also make sure you put some wounds on Morathi, okay? Because Morathi should be down to 4 wounds left. I don't know how we're keeping track. Sorry, say that again. Okay, so we've got Fist of Gork cast onto the Bloodstalkers, looking to reduce them down. Don't forget, no CP left for Daughters of Khaine. So the Daughters of Khaine aren't going to be able to Battleshock immune any of these units. So if we get enough chip damage done into some of them. So he did no damage to them. He did no damage to them there.
Unfortunate. Maybe the tides have turned. Maybe those failed charges are happening for the Orcs now. We don't know.
Yeah, of course.
But they have gotten their big wild points back up to 20. So they're at 22 now. So they are +1 to wound again. So they are going to be pretty disgusting in combat at the moment.
They do. They're going to be really good, and that +1 damage is going to be super strong as well. Do they? I think they have to take both objectives, right, in order to be able to take this game out this turn.
Both objectives put them at a 19. Yep, to the 18. Looks like it's for their victory points.
So we just heard Breath of Gork has gone off on 11 here. Looking to...
Seems all right.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But we'll see. Oh, and we've just seen Geminids cast. Not forgetting that was a back pocket play all game. We'll see where that goes on the board. It's settled within 18, move 8. So we'll see. It's looking to go towards those Bloodstalkers, making a -1 to hit. I think it's going to be...
That's actually an interesting play against Morathi. If he's able to take out D3 mortal wounds right now on the little Morathi, and then if they try to take the next turn, he can put it back into Little Marathi and kill her before turn 5 starts.
Yes. Yes, you just can't. You still can't. I mean, you can still use the wounds. It just doesn't carry over anymore, does it? Like, you can't do more
Correct.
wounds in the in-between phase, but you can still do the wounds to Marathi.
Yep. So he could do up to 3 this turn, and then up to 3 next turn. And with those 2 D3s go through, on odds, she actually should be dead. So that's a big play that went off this turn.
But he decided. It looks like he isn't going for Marathi, and instead he's going for the Blood Sisters and the Blood Stalkers instead. And looking.
We've got Little Marathi over here, though, right?
Little Marathi's over further away. Little Marathi is here, and then so she's not close enough. So not. Yeah. He hasn't gone for that play. I don't know if he's going to do. All he has to really. He doesn't have to really deal with Marathi at all. Like, ultimately, he has to deal with everyone else.
Yeah,
we're just seeing some German efficiency with these Geminids, is what we're seeing right now. But -1 to hit on the Bloodstalkers, -1 to attack on the Blood Sisters. There, so so they've only got 1 attack. It's 2 attacks each now, which is fine. And there are only 5 Blood Sisters left in that unit. Oh, 6. Yep. Oh no, 5 Blood Sisters left in that unit. Yeah. Right, and so these Gore Grunters are going to be womping up the board. I mean, he's going to need the Gore Grunters to go and take the top objective. I don't know if he's going to actually get to do that, right? That's what he needs to happen. He needs to go up, go grab that top objective, and then also win the priority roll. Is kind of what we need to see.
The priority is going to be big. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So need to get those Gore Grunters up. I don't even know if they can make that charge, to be honest. Oh, they've got the get and beat, so they've got a 3d6-inch charge there. Now, they can declare the charge because they're within 12 inches of a model, which is Marathi or the Blood Sisters, so they can do it. And then if they roll that 18, or if they roll higher, they need a 12 to get into the Bloodstalkers. Not forgetting that they're getting +1 from the big war points, and then naturally +1 as well. So they've already got +2. So it's 3d6 +2 for this charge. So that's not bad. You know, but they're really relying on that single Gore Grunter, single big stabber to do the work in the center. Or maybe they're going to throw all the characters
he can also charge with these guys. Yep.
Yeah. He's going to throw the War Dog in. He's going to throw the Weird Knob in. And
then shake them all about.
Shake them all about. So it might just be +1. I think there might not be a War Scroll +1. Appreciate that. So we'll see. So that War Chanter looking to run up. He's retreating the big stabber, so he just makes sure he stays alive for holding the objective. That's pretty important. So there we go. That Geminid could definitely kill him in the future. I'm not so sure about casting Geminids, to be honest. I don't know why it's there. I really don't. Like, is it close enough? It's not close enough even to Marathi to even... Is it? No. Morning, Boggler. I hope you're well. Hope your game went well. We'll see. Are you tense, Joe? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting, right? Because he has given up this back objective.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do. The objective in the bottom left, there's nothing he can do about that now, in any way, shape, or form. But we are waiting to see how this charge moves go. They are, and they're pushed on time. They don't have much time. What were the predictions as to who would win? I didn't make a prediction, but Joe, you were on the side of the Orruks, right?
Yep, I was.
Yeah. You're on an Orruk push, and we haven't seen that actually happen. So we have got the moves happening now, and then we're just waiting for that charge. All we need. Come on. And those Gore Grunters, those 5 Gore Grunters have been a big pocket smashing unit all game, because they will do so much damage. They will do, like, they've got 3 attacks each on top, 4 from the pigs. They're damage 2 across the board now. Rend 1 coming from the Orruks on top.
Plus 2 to hit.
Plus 2 to hit. Plus 2 to hit on the... No, plus
on
1
the charge.
Oh, yeah. On the
Yeah, but on the charge, I get +1. You get an extra +1, yeah.
On the pigs. Yeah, so it's going to be 2s and 2s across the board, damage 2. So they'll just delete pretty much whatever they touch, other than Morathi, who can't die.
Yep. That's how it goes.
But
nice thing being immortal, isn't it?
So here we go. Here's the charge. There's also the mortal wounds coming out from the... Oh, the big stabber has moved up aggressively. So we'll just see what this charge move does here. So they've gone into... So they're going into the Blood Sisters, looking to just grab this objective here, not threatening that unit of Bloodstalkers at the top. If I were them, especially with time, I would just remove the Blood Sisters off the table. But I don't know if they're going to. So we'll see. They should be dead. There's only 5 of them, 10 wounds left into that unit as well. They should be pretty much cleared off the board. I think that's going to be super important. And then we'll see what happens in the priority roll. Priority roll, if it goes to Daughters of Khaine, they win the game. Priority roll, if it goes to Orruk Warclans, they win the game. It's that simple. It's that easy. I mean, they could just roll the dice now. That would also solve. That would also. We're not even in turn 5. We're in turn 4. Oliver Dempsey, if that helps you. So we're still waiting for that priority roll. Bogler, I agree. It was super early. Agreed. So now it's about that priority roll. That's what matters. Show us that priority roll, gentlemen. That's what we're looking for. So it means that they are going to score 4. So that goes to 18-15. Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah. So priority roll. Ooh, here we go. The Orc
only
dice.
getting that one objective is big.
Yeah. The Orcs rolled a 2. Oh, it's a 3. The Daughters of Khaine are going to take the game. That is absolutely there. So that is a very fast finish for that match. So the situation is if Daughters of Khaine don't have to do anything other than score this bottom. So they're going to score 10 points now. 5 for the top, 5 for the bottom. And if they contest this center objective, or at least like punch through these Gore Grunters, or does he think that the Gore Grunters will tank Morathi and then move into the Bloodstalkers? Is that the plan? No, I don't think that they're going to tank Morathi. I don't think they've called the game. There we go.
Game.
Woo!
There we go.
Woo! All over. Joe. Oof.
That was a spicy game, for sure.
Spicy game. That was big. There was loads to unpack there. But, like, the Daughters of Khaine got lucky, really, with the turn into 3 to 4. But ultimately, that Morathi was the fact that that Morathi was just unkillable. You just couldn't control her. She was just moving all around the board, jumping into units, pinning them in, being able to not do anything, right?
Yep, and then not having a mortal wound save on the Maw Crusher was huge as well, right? Like not being able to keep that alive from spells and mortal wounds is what took it out, because nothing was getting through the armor, but they had the mortal wound output to deal with it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, great game, loads to unpack. Maybe we'll talk about it at another game. Joe's been up late, though, so appreciate Joe for tuning in and doing some coverage with me. It's been brilliant having you on.
No problem, man. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been lovely. Now, you guys, don't forget we've got 2 more matches today, so do tune in for that. It's going to be super cool. The time's about to come up on the screen now, so do join us again in about 40 minutes for the next match. You guys are great. We'll see you soon. Not sure who it's going to be, but thanks for listening, and we'll talk. Congratulations to the Daughters of Khaine player. We'll see you guys soon.